There's Miss Tracy. See Mr. Devin.
We love cameras on, you guys, so thank you.
Yep, they all know I have a beautiful team, every last one of them guys. So they was all instructed to have those cameras on for this
T-Mac's
class.
got a nice smile.
Awesome.
I see Erica, but I don't see her face.
Good morning, everyone.
I see Sarah Major in the building. Okay.
Hi, Sarah. Hello.
Michelle, Jesse, I see you guys. I don't see you guys. I see some names, but let's get them cameras on you guys. If you didn't wash your face, run in the bathroom real quick and wash your face and turn them cameras on. I see Tanya signing in. All right, well, hopefully all you guys can hear me. Thank y'all for signing up, and thank you for joining this class, man. I'm super pumped for you guys to learn from, man, probably one of the best coaches that I've seen, and taking one of the best classes that I've ever taken. Greg, man, you owned a super large Keller Williams office with what, about 600 or 900 agents?
Yeah, actually had 6 of them with just shy of 1,000 agents.
Wow. And so, yeah, he's ran big offices and he's been coaching all around the nation. So he's been doing this for a while, and I'm just super pumped to have him. I'm gonna let you guys take it away so we can get started and get as much as we can from, out of you for your time, Greg.
All right, sounds so good. Thank you. I know Terrence is on vacation, doing a great job working the Wi-Fi. So we'll give a quick intro and we will rock and roll. So I'm Craig Reger. I'm one of your 4 coaches today. Quick background on me, just so you know, I really hate the background part, but I also hate talking for 3 hours without anyone knowing.
Like who's that guy?
Yeah, who's that guy? So that guy is a guy that's
for some reason I can't hear no one. Let's see.
I don't know about the hearing part. So I'm Craig Reger. I've been in real estate for some 20-something years. That's amazing. I'm sorry, technical.
You're fine.
Andrea touched my computer. I've been in real estate for about 20 years. My team, I still got a team, and I bring that up because we're actively in production. We'll sell about 250, maybe 300 houses this year. Lifetime, I've closed well over 5,000 properties. We'll talk a little bit more about the team thing as we go through today, but if you're individual agents, that's cool. We coach individual agents every single day. As Terrence indicated, up until a couple of years ago, I owned a bunch of Keller Williams franchises throughout the country. I sold all of those 2 years ago in May. So it's been 2 years this month. And I did it for just one reason. I did it because my passion is coaching, consulting, and training. And although I had about 1,000 agents, there's about 1.5 million agents in America. So I just didn't feel we're coaching or helping enough people. So I sold those companies. Andrea is my business partner. I'll intro her in a second, but we own an independent local boutique brokerage. We're close to you all. You're in Tacoma and we're sitting here in Portland, Oregon. We're actually in Seattle this last weekend teaching on Friday and Saturday. So similar markets, obviously a little different, but similar, being all here in the Pacific Northwest. And our goals today is to help you do more business with consistency and balance. It's pretty simple. So who are you, Andrea?
I'm Andrea Morrison. I have been in real estate for just over 10 years. Pretty much all of that with Craig. I started with him as a showing agent. So basically just showing homes, and he was the real estate agent who negotiated all the offers, and I learned from him. When we did our first 90 and 90, which is the class we're going over today, but it came from the first time we actually ran a 90 listings in 90 days for our own team. I was a buyer's agent at the time. So I had a huge part in our 90 listings in 90 days, but actually from a buyer's agent perspective, which what I'll tell you at that is that focusing on listings filled my plate with buyers. So it was an amazing experience. Throughout the last 10 years, I've kind of grown up as a real estate agent, and I went from being a showing agent to buyer's agent, running our sales team, taking listings. I still am in production a small amount just to stay relevant with the market, but work primarily on the coaching side of our business.
Don't spill your tea.
That was amazing.
And what was your best year of selling homes?
Yeah, so when I was in full production, my best year selling homes was 142 homes closed.
Yeah, I thought it was 143.
No, you're wrong.
All right,
You overestimate what I can do.
142 sales in a year is pretty good. So Andrew is an owner in the coaching company. In the coaching company, we're a nationwide coaching company. We coach agents in every state across the country. We'll talk more about that as today progresses. But yeah, so she's an owner in the coaching company and our co-host today. And next, I've got Mr. Matty G coming to us from Salem, Oregon.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, Matty? Who are you, buddy?
Hey, I am Vice President of Client Care and Development with Reger Coaching and Consulting, also a licensed agent. And I'm super excited to be here to be a part of pouring some value and growth and opportunity to y'all.
Matt looks like he got his sleep, maybe got a haircut this weekend. Matt, you're looking good. We're excited for your energy today.
Thanks so much.
All right. And then, of course, we've got Miss Katie DeWitt. Katie, what's your role?
Hey you guys, I am here to help with any questions you guys have about coaching. I've worked with Craig for about 8 years now. I was the CEO of one of his brokerages and turned that to #1, and I actually own and manage one of a brokerage as well down here. So in Eugene, Oregon, and down in Roseburg. So if you guys have questions, I'm going to be helping along as well. And if you have questions about coaching, I'm going to help if you want to kind of go further during, or you can message me during the class or after, and we'll see if we have the right coach for you.
Right on. And we've got Miss Destiny. She leads our operations team. She also looks like Matt, like she woke up early and got dressed up and is looking very perfect today. Which
Wait,
is
did you not
fantastic.
say that about Katie?
Yeah, so they look good. I don't.
Katie, you just rolled out of bed like an hour ago. So perfect. Well, Destiny runs our operations side. Her main role today is to make sure I don't screw up anything with technology. So she's in the office next door. So if we see something crazy happens, Destiny's going to come running in here and help us out. So thank you, Destiny. Thank you, Jerry. Do we have a sponsor on today? Do I need to be aware of any sponsors?
We do. We have Miss Krista Williams, who is my wife and also our office lender over at Fairway Mortgage. And I'll let her introduce herself. Oh, I had to put mine on mute. Sorry, we're in the same room because we both have to use the hotspot because our Wi-Fi is not working in the hotel. So I'm gonna.
Okay. Hi guys. I know most everybody. I'm Krista Williams at Fairway Independent Mortgage, and I've been a loan officer for 4 years. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank
you.
Thanks, Crystal, and thanks for sponsoring. All right, so Katie, as I'm loading the slide deck, I'm so happy to see Jesse and Erica and Stacy. Devin's on the walkabout, Levita, T-Mac. Thank you for all of you that have turned on your cameras. We've got a fun like 2.5 to 3 hours today. And Andrew and I taught this group in front of as many as 10,000 people. Mm-hmm. So the fact we get about a dozen today is actually really cool. We can go off script. We can really talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, your businesses, dominating listings, etc. But also, it's really hard in a small group to have in a large group of 10,000 people being able to have conversations. It's like, hey, you in the back with 10,000 people doesn't work. So it's a great opportunity to unmute yourself or to use the chat box. So as I'm loading the slide deck, Katie, what should we have them load in the chat box?
Yeah, you guys, like you said, the more you want to go off topic, we're okay with that. Like this is like ask questions. We can talk about local issues. Really tailor this for you guys. So please interact. We love that. Let's start with typing in what you guys had for breakfast, just to make sure you guys know where the chat box little section is, and we know that you guys know how to work it. So please tell us what you had for breakfast.
Perfect. What if I didn't have breakfast, Katie?
Then you're gonna be really hungry.
This is a long class, so they better.
I hope you had breakfast.
Yeah, with that note, Destiny, you might want to order us lunch. All right. All right, I see somebody maybe had breakfast. A couple chats coming through. Fantastic.
I want to look at the chats.
This group does not eat food. What is going on?
Coffee. Oh, sandwich. That sounds good.
Shrimp and grits.
Oh.
Where are you at vacation? That sounds good.
Yeah, where are you?
Yeah, where are you at, Terrence?
Terrence, where are
yes.
you? Where are you vacationing right now?
Trying to work that mute button back and forth.
Oh,
Terrence is losing. All right, we're gonna rock and roll. All right,
we're in Charlotte, you guys.
Charlotte, North Carolina. I like it. Okay, please mute yourself. Everybody's done a good job of that. But unmute yourself if you want to talk. We're going to take a couple of breaks throughout today. So we respect and appreciate how busy you are as real estate professionals. There's home inspections, there's showing requests, there's offers, there's hopefully not, but occasionally there's low appraisals and nasty home inspections. If you got to step out, and we'll also take some breaks. We're going to ask you to, for the next couple hours, to put limiting beliefs on the shelf.
What does that mean?
Well, what that means is we're gonna talk about like hitting big goals. First off, setting big goals, doing activities to hit big goals, and ultimately hitting big goals to have a bigger life. And we can just get really beat down with that, right? Like it can be, no, that won't work, or I can't do that, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the skill, or right? We have all these thoughts that cross our mind every single day.
Yeah.
And what we're gonna ask is that, for the next couple hours, you just pull those out of your pocket or out of your mind or out of your purse, wherever they're living, and you just put them like on the side of the room or up on a shelf for the next couple hours, right? And let's think about, well, what would it look like if I could do that? Or how could my life change if I did accomplish that? Or what would happen if I took 6 listings in the month of June, right? Instead of why you can't, what would happen if you could? What would life look like?
Just think really big, positive, and just let your mind kind of grow and expand. And that's what this class is all about. That's what 90 listings in 90 days is like this super big, huge goal. And you just let it go. Like, let it go. There's no reason why you can't do it.
Yeah, how many of you have kids, or maybe a sister or brother with kids? Like, raise your hands. A couple of you. Okay.
Lots of kids.
A couple of you.
Everybody
Tanya
got
does. Jesse does. Andrew's got 2. She's got twins. Katie's got 1. Lots of kids around here. So just imagine, like, if you put Andrew and I in charge of your kids for a month, and that entire month, all we shared with them is like, you can't accomplish your goals. You can't be successful. You can't, be a multimillionaire. You can't. And so that's all we programmed your kids for a month. Like, my hope is that you would come back and punch me in the nose. It's like, imagine like putting those thoughts into your kids of, you can't do this, you can't accomplish that. Like, seriously, if somebody told, I've got a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old, I was at church yesterday, my daughter went through confirmation, it was a big moment in her life and ours. Like, if somebody shared with my kids over and over they can't accomplish something, like, I would go nuclear as a parent, and I would certainly do everything I could to get my child away from that relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Yeah, each of us already on this call, probably as early as 8 a.m. this morning, having our coffee or our grits and shrimp, is that we do think about what we can't do. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. Like, we program ourselves constantly with the things we can't do. And it's just so wild. We would never allow somebody to talk to our loved ones, our children, our nieces, our nephew in that capacity. But we've got the self-talk going on in our head constantly of what we can't do. And so my hope and goal for the next few hours today is we do put those limiting beliefs on the shelf, and we change that self-talk to, well, what if? How about? What would it look like if I did? And we just start working today on reprogramming some of that self-talk.
Okay.
I know, to me, that's a big visual. Like, somebody talk to my kids that way, I go nuclear, but I still wake up every day and tell myself what I can't accomplish. Let's change that.
Right.
Let's change that right now. All right, a couple other ground rules. Ask questions. Again, small group, it's going to be much easier to bring you guys value, and we'll bring you more value if you ask questions. You've got the chat box. Katie is monitoring that along with Matt. You can mute yourself. And lastly, is just think about, what's your stretch goal? Like, you guys know where you're at. We don't. Maybe that's another good question to put in the chat box. Katie, is like, how many houses have you already sold this year? Or what's your goal for 2021? Like, we'd love to know from an audience standpoint, if you guys want to put that in there, either how many houses have you sold or pended year to date, and or what's your goal for closed units for 2021? And then we can look at what's the stretch goal, right? If I've closed 4 homes year to date, the odds of me hitting 75 by the end of the year is pretty slim.
Right.
But we could also have a stretch goal. If I close 4 homes essentially 5 months through the year, there's absolutely no reason with the right activities I couldn't hit 20.
Right. Totally. Yeah. That's a good stretch goal.
Yeah. What's your stretch goal? And then, of course, what we're going to talk a lot about today is how committed are you hitting? It's really easy to say, I want to close 20 homes, 50 homes, or be like Andrea and close 142 homes. What?
Yeah. Sure.
Right? Well, you did.
I know.
But there was a tremendous amount of commitment that you put in to hit that.
Yeah.
All right. So we start every class with this. This is our org chart that we use here at RCC. It's pretty basic, but it actually becomes pretty big picture when we break it down. So in the top box, we've got the CEO. Katie, what kind of roles does the CEO have in real estate?
I mean, they get to make the decision for everything. You guys are all CEOs right now, right? Like you guys chose to be on this call today. You guys can choose what company you want to work with. Luckily, you guys are working with a rock star, with Terrence as your leader, and you got to make that decision. So you guys, you're here. You also get to decide if you want to hire people. You guys get to decide if you want to take the day off and go to North Carolina. Like you guys get to do whatever you want. You guys are the owners of your company.
Yeah, do I buy Zillow leads? Do I sleep in? Do I show up for this webinar or do I not? Do I work at ABC Realty or CSR Realty? Like CEOs get to, do I do an open house this weekend, assuming my jurisdiction allows me to, or do I not? Those are CEO decisions. And next, of course, there's a listing agent. So, you know, Katie, in Eugene, Oregon, what's the average sales price you're playing with in Eugene?
It's gone up now, thank goodness for this market, to 400,000.
Okay, 400,000. So the average commission is what, 10 to 12?
Yeah.
Let's call it 10,000 for round numbers. You got a listing appointment tonight. There's like 3,000 agents in your market. It's not a terribly big market, Eugene, but still 3,000 agents. So number one, if you get a listing, let's have a clarity. If you show up at somebody's house tonight and they sign a listing contract, you just beat out 2,999 agents, yes or no?
Yeah.
Even though she didn't go up against all those agents?
Well, she did. Any one of those agents could have come and taken her listing and signed with them. Okay. Is that fair? So when they pick you over the 3,000 agents in their market, you literally just beat out 2,999 agents. And that's regardless to me, like, is that your best friend from college? Is that an acquaintance in church? Is that a past client? Is that somebody you cold called last week? Like, irrelevant. You beat out 2,999 agents. And Katie, in the market in Eugene, Oregon, if you get a listing on the market tomorrow, Tuesday, how long is it going to take you to get offers on it?
Tuesday by 7 p.m.
Yeah, you're gonna have offers unless you really screw up on value. You're gonna have offers in a couple days or faster. Probably set an offer deadline. Probably have it sold by Friday or Saturday, right? So, Katie, I'm going to argue as we're on this box to the far right, listing agent, me, because right, if you don't have someone doing that, you're the listing agent. You don't have someone doing the CEO, you're a listing agent. I'm going to argue, Katie, out of that $10,000 commission, and here's where I want people to really focus on this number. You earn half the commission by just getting it signed. So how long is a listing appointment take you in Eugene, Oregon?
About an hour.
Oh, about an hour. So if it's $10,000 commission, half, that's $5,000. You made $5,000 an hour.
It's not bad.
I'm not saying
not bad.
it's not bad at all, right? But isn't that a focus? Where do we spend our time, and what's our dollar per hour return with that? And that's a reality of your market, is that you have the opportunity to have up to a $5,000 activity. And I'm not saying there's not a tremendous amount of work to do to get that property on the market, to make a flyer, to input it in the multiple listing, to turn paperwork, because I'm sure everybody's got to turn paperwork into their brokerage, to unique style realty. Like, there's work there, but that's a different kind of work. And what is that work called, Katie?
Well, that paperwork in the back end is admin.
Okay, so that's the administrative side. That's what we call being the nurse of the business. And likewise, we call being the listing agent a surgeon. That is a surgeon. That's a top job in the profession. And reality is, so, well, not so much.
You look really dark.
I know I look really, but this light, somebody just turned a light on. Look, it's like blinding me. That's what's happening.
Stop, because we look really dark.
Okay, all right, well, I'll be blind. Perfect, but nice and shiny.
I might all look really good, and you can be dark in the corner.
Okay, perfect. All right, so Katie, the other job is what we call being the nurse, and that pays what, Eugene, Oregon?
Oh, anywhere from $15 to $25.
So you just went from making $5,000 an hour to shuffling back to your office or your home office, doing paperwork, perfect, calling stagers, entering in the multiple listing, and that's worth about $15 to $20 an hour. That's not good or bad. The reason we're camping on this is a reality of where do you spend your time and energy? Where should you be spending your time and energy? And I'm also not demeaning the nurse work. Like, the nurse is the backbone of your company. And by the way, if you don't have a nurse, which is totally cool, you are the nurse of your company. Likewise, if you don't have a house cleaner, you're the house cleaner of your house. It's just a reality of things that have to be done. But it is not the highest dollar hour return of what you could be doing in this industry, which is signing up more listings. It's that simple.
Mhm.
To mention that I don't want to be in that role. So especially when you break it down like this, if I can be making $5,000 an hour, that happens to be the reason why I went into real estate, right? I want to negotiate and go on appointments and do what it takes to get the listing. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm miserable when I go back and have to do the paperwork and input and do the things that I need to do to get that live. Like that part drains me. And so when you sit here and you put $1 per hour number to that, like that's really eye-opening to say, well, I just went from $5,000 to $20 an hour.
Yeah. And it's okay if you don't have a nurse. just be aware. So often in our industry, we go home after a long day of work and we're exhausted. And it's like, well, what did we accomplish? Did I take a listing? No. Did I represent a buyer with a successful contract? No. Did I put myself in a good position to potentially sign a listing contract tomorrow? No. And it's like, I'll play that reel through my head at the end of my day. And it's like, often when that reel is showing up, it just means I was a nurse for the vast majority of my day.
Right. Which can be, I mean, that can be very exhausting and that's fine, but it's more of a recognition of where did you spend your time and what was that $1 per hour for the day? Did you spend your time and you're super tired at the end of the day because you went on 5 listing appointments at $5,000 an hour? Awesome. Like take the night off, have fun, like be tired. That's great. But if you're putting in all this time and energy at $20 an hour, and at the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. It's like, okay, but you can't, there isn't going to be any more of that if you're not going out and taking these $5,000 an hour listing appointments.
Yeah, it's getting called on the busyness of the work instead of finding business. And of course, there's a buyer's agent. You guys know what that is. To me, though, I clarified buyer's agent as writing offers, winning or helping my clients win in competitive situations.
Well, and that's why we broke it down on this org chart between buyer's agent and showing agent. And you guys remember at the beginning of this call, I said I started my career as a showing agent. So for me, that was like for our team, it was like an entry-level position. I came in just showing houses. Then eventually I moved up to buyer's agent, and then I'll let you kind of explain.
Yeah, so buyer's agent is, well, this just happened in our company last week. We had a low appraisal. We actually got an email this weekend, it got fixed.
Okay.
So, right,
Who fixed it?
The buyer's agent.
Okay.
Right, so low appraisal, that's, solving that as a surgeon type role, winning in a competitive situation or trying to win or putting your clients in position to win. That's a surgeon type role in a different market, which someday we're going to wake up and be in a market where every property doesn't get 17 offers and sell at 100,000 over asking. In a different market, helping our clients secure a home at 20 or 30,000 under asking, that is a surgeon type role. And then to Andrea's point, opening doors at a high level, like answering questions at a high level, showing homes at a high level.
Knowing neighborhoods at a high level.
Yeah, different role. That role is being a showing agent. That's probably worth about $50 to $100 an hour. And I'd say the buyer agent role is probably worth somewhere between $500 to $1,500 an hour.
Yeah.
So just an awareness of look at your calendar from the last week. Where did you spend your time and energy? And then of course, if you chose to hire, you could just add somebody. You could add an admin instead of it being you. You could add a showing agent instead of it being you. That's your choice. As the CEO, you get to make those decisions. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Really great quote here from Mr. Jim Collins. Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice and discipline. And all of you were or should have been emailed a workbook. So you got a workbook. Feel free to follow along with that. So greatness, it turns out, is a matter of conscious choice and discipline. Devin, Erica, Crystal, you guys agree that we've had a lot of circumstances in our world in the last 12 months, 16 months, I guess now. Like, holy shit, sorry. Like, there's been a lot of circumstances in the world. There's been a worldwide pandemic. Like, the first 3 months, it's like, I don't know if I'm ever going to work again. Like, I don't know if people are ever going to buy houses again. Like, the world kind of really literally shut down.
Yeah.
And then somehow, for some reason, which is still not necessarily explainable, the world has opened back up to being one of the prolific, insane, low inventory, crazy buyerness markets in the history of the world. It's like a land grab out there. I mean, think about this. Real estate today, throughout the United States, I'm sure many other countries, but let's focus on the US, is the most expensive it has ever been in the history of the world. Real estate today is the most expensive it has ever been, Terrence, in the history of the world. Is that not wild? Like, we always have circumstances when we focus on this quote. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice and discipline, not our circumstances. We always have circumstances, like people unfortunately pass away. People unfortunately get buyer's remorse and terminate transactions. We don't always have a fantastic lender out there like Crystal, and sometimes our buyers pick a bad lender, and we have an issue at closing where the buyer wasn't actually approved. Like, there's so many circumstances that come at us. And this last 14, 15 months, man, we've had more circumstances than ever before. So when I read this quote by Jim Collins from his book, by the way, if you haven't read it, I'd highly recommend it. Thank you, Sarah, for putting that in at 25. There's a lot of circumstances, but Jim says greatness is a matter of conscious choice and discipline. So what is your conscious choice? What would you intend to accomplish? Sarah just said her goal was, I think, 25, right? Like, that's a conscious choice. I intend to close 25 units this year.
And there's going to be a million circumstances on top of this pandemic and a crazy market and everything else that's going to come at you.
Sabotage it.
Yeah, totally. But it's still your conscious choice, and now you have to have the discipline to follow through.
Yeah, so then we go back to the quote, and that key word there for Sarah and for all of us is conscious choice is the first step. A lot of us don't have goals. Make that goal. What is your conscious choice? What do you intend to accomplish? Whether that's health, whether it's financial, whether it's productivity, whether that's relationships with people that have been lacking, especially for the last 15 months, you haven't got to spend time with them. Conscious choice is fantastic. So start with making it. And then the key to success is the discipline. The discipline. Just is. So what did it do for us in our 90-90 challenge? Because that's what today's class is. And by the way, we're starting with foundation. We're giving you some foundational mindset pillars, and we're going to move into strategy and some ways that you can go and get business right away, more business than you've had.
Well, and thank you for bringing that up, because I do think we go through so much foundation in this, and it can seem really boring. And it's like, get to the meat, where's the scripts? Like,
Tell me how do
I get there?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. There's already a million scripts out there. You guys have already heard tons of scripts. You have a million different ways to get business. We're just going to give you some more. But the bottom line is that if you don't have the foundation, the reason behind it, and that real goal within you to get to that next level, you won't do it. Because you've already had all that coming at you. So the foundation is really the reason that we're talking so much about the foundation, so that we can build that, make it solid, and then grow off of it, so that you actually go and do that and create a new production, a new level of business.
Right on. So if you choose to take on a challenge, which is what we're going to ask each of you to do today, what could it do for you? Well, we've coached thousands and thousands and thousands of agents through this, so we can share what it's done for others. And certainly, as Andrea said, we did this challenge ourselves. We were a team taking on average about one listing a week. Okay. So, one listing a week. And then we made a challenge for us to list 90 homes in 90 days. So going from one listing a week to a listing every single day of the week,
it's insane.
It was super insane. And by the way, we're going to ask you guys to make a goal. And it doesn't have to be 90 listings in 9 days. It could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 30, it could be 120. It's your goal. For us, it was 90 and 90. What it did gave us hyper focus of one thing. Right, as we just shared, there's a million jobs as being a licensed real estate professional, and those million jobs can get in the way of the clarity of, hey, as a real estate professional, especially in a market like this, what's going to move my needle of success the most? Taking listing. So hyper focus, take a listing. We built new habits. It takes new habits. If you haven't gone to the gym in several years, and you start going to the gym, it creates a new habit for you. If you're not eating at a healthy level and you start eating healthy, it creates a new habit for you. If you're not spending quality time with the people in your life you should be spending it with, and you turn that on and you consistently go and spend quality time with people that are important to you, it creates a new habit, and it will forever change your behavior. We create a high production culture, right? You go from listing 4 houses a month to listing 30 houses a month. I got to watch some really great basketball this week, and I got to see I love basketball. No, it did. We saw high production cultures on the court. These are the playoff teams. These are the best of the best of the best at what they're doing. And last night we saw the number 8 seed knock out the number 1 seed. It was Memphis taking out Phoenix, I think. Right? There was high production culture inside of that organization. That's what happens when you have big challenges and you're committed and have the discipline to go after them, is it changes how you look and feel in your body language. Exposes areas needing improvements, right? Maybe I'm actually really crappy admin of my company, right? It will show those areas of improvement needed in your organization when you take on a higher level of business. And it will elevate the norm of your business. I can't look all of you in the eye and say, well, since our first challenge, every single day I take a listing a day. No, we hit our goal during the challenge. And then after the challenge, we've done substantially more business consistently than we've ever done before. But it doesn't, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't take a listing a day still. I mean, maybe some days we take 3. Like, I don't know. It's all over the place, but I'll tell you, we never went back to taking 1 a week.
Right. Yeah, it changes.
You never go back to that. You've elevated to this new norm.
Absolutely. All right, another quote: true of a nation, true of an individual, the greatest doer must also be the greatest dreamer. Today's about dreaming big. You know, what is your big why? One of my mentors shared with me, the big why is why do we put the armor on and go and fight the fight? Like, why do we get out of bed and even do this? Like, what is your big why? Maybe not for all of you, but for some of us, taxes were due just 6 days ago on the 17th. For some of us, our big why is paying taxes. Mm-hmm. For others, it's we have an elderly parent and we'd like to have more money to take care of them at a high level. For some of us, myself included, it's a 17 and a 15-year-old. In fact, this weekend is our first weekend. We're going to Southern California with my 17-year-old son, and we're checking out colleges. And I'm looking at the price tag of these colleges. Part of my big why being successful is having some means to help him. Your big why is personal to you, but it's why do you put the armor on and go and fight the fight? How would your life be different when you accomplish that big why? And what I share with the big why is it can absolutely be financial. It can be paying off debt. It can be buying a home. It can be purchasing investment property. It can be helping a family or friend that's in need. Like, big why is so often, if it's not something you focused on before, it often is financial.
I think it's, yeah, no, you kind of said it. Like, it often is financial. That's not a bad thing. It actually should probably be financial until you're at a place where you're like, oh, I can kind of think beyond that.
Well, and people get weird talking about money. So this is real estate. This is a real estate course. And so real estate is like, we are out there helping our consumers, but at the end of the day, this is also our job, our career, or another way to call it, ladies and gentlemen, it's our business. Mm-hmm. And so it is okay to focus on money. But to finish your thought, what happens if we knock off our big why, we pay off our taxes, we have savings, we help our mom in need? What next happens with our big why that you've seen through coaching?
Growing. Like, it grows bigger and bigger. And then sometimes it's not about the money, or it's more about what the money can do. Open orphanages, open on non-kill animal shelters. Like, those are some of the bigger things we've seen. But those people didn't just wake up on day one of real estate and be like, I want to open maybe they did. I want to open an orphanage one day. It's like, well, they had to take all these other little steps to get there. So your big why can always be changing. Year 1, it might be, I want to be able to pay my bills. Year 2, it's, I want to get rid of some debt. Year 3, it's, right? So your big why can keep growing. You don't just wake up and have one big why that you're always clinging to. It's kind of always changing and evolving. It
evolves. And the reason I keep circling back to you is, why do we put the armor on to fight the fight? Because sometimes you just don't want to do that activity. Sometimes you don't want to knock on that door. Sometimes you don't want to make that phone call. Sometimes you don't want to do one more open house.
Yeah.
Most of the time, frankly. And so the reason that we focus on big why right now is because we get clarity. Where do we want to be? What do we want our life to look like? What do we want to accomplish? Who do we want to help? We're much more likely, those mornings that we don't want to go and get out of bed and fight the fight, we're much more likely to roll out of bed and to fight that fight.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, this is a good number to write down. How much money do you want to make this year? How much money do you want to make this year? Let's get craziness. Andrew and I were just in Seattle, as I shared last Friday and Saturday, teaching, and it was really interesting to ask people just point blank, like, Crystal, how much money do you want to make in the next 12 months? And a lot of people kind of locked up on us. They didn't have a clarity of it.
No, it was fun though to kind of work through and discover that. And actually what we did is we went beyond that, which is actually in the next question, is we said, it's hard to think right now because you're so like, oh, well, it's May and I don't know, like it just seems so immediate. But what we asked them is, what about the next 5 years? Where do you want to be in the next 5 years? What do you want your net worth to be? And that's easier to kind of like open up and it's like, wow, it's actually a lot of time to get there. And you can actually let your brain just sort of go and see where it takes you. There's another quote, I don't think we have it on here, but it's that people often, they overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year and you underestimate what you can accomplish in 5 years.
So in other words, we overestimate what we can do. Like, this year, I'm going to make $1 million. It's like, well, how much have you made so far? 10,000. probably not going to happen. That's overestimating what we can make in 1 year,
Right.
but we underestimate what we can do in 5. Like any one of us can be worth 3 million, 5 million, 10 million. There's no number as a coach that any one of you could give me for a 5-year goal that I wouldn't be like, yeah, game on, you can accomplish that.
Absolutely.
Right, because that's the conscious choice. Now the question is, over the next 5 years, will you stay disciplined to hitting that goal? And if the answer is yes, unequivocally, we know you can hit it.
Yeah. So I think that's a good exercise though to think about, is that don't get too caught up in the like right now in the circumstances, because there are, right? And I know we're trying to get past that, but look at 2 years, 3 years, 5 years out. What can you do?
And then how will this contribute to your big why? Like, okay, I'm going to be worth 50 million or 5 million or 500,000 in 5 years. The final question is, how does that contribute back to the big why? How does that help you with the greater cause? Katie and Matt, anything you want to add on big why?
I think this is so awesome. I actually literally last night, I poured 2 whiskeys for me and my husband, and we were talking about like kind of theoretical, like what if we've been playing with stocks lately. We're like, what if we make 200,000 or 200 million, 2 million this year? And we're just like joking, but then it turned into this hour-long, like pushing each other further and further. And literally what you're saying, you guys have like, that it evolves. At first it was like, oh, we'll go on a vacation. And we're like, okay, but then what? We have $2 million. It's like, oh, okay, then we'll buy some rentals. I'm like, great, but then what? And we're like, and we just kind of like kept pushing each other further and further. And we were just, it really is hard, you guys, to think bigger. Like, what would you do? Like if someone literally like, here you go, here's your money, then what's next? Right? What is that legacy? What do you do after you just live comfortable? Like, I love you guys are chatting in this box, by the way. This is so cool.
I agree.
I love it. We just looked too.
Yeah, what you guys are saying. So it really is hard. Like, I mean, we were sitting there like pushing each other to think bigger, and it seems easy, but the easy part was like, oh, vacation. But the next part was like, well, what's next? So really sit there and try even just fluid writing, like set a timer of, 5 minutes, like on our break, and just like try and think really big of what you can do and push yourself even further.
Really good. Yeah, I'm really impressed. While Katie was speaking, Andrew and I just read through the chats. Like, you guys have some really kick-ass goals, really kick-ass conscious choice and vision of where you want to be, what your life wants to look like. And what Andrew and I will focus on for the next couple hours now is that discipline, as well as some key fundamental things that you could do and implement into your business right now that will help you accomplish those goals. Sound good?
Woo.
All right. Woo. Wow, Andrea's all fired up.
Woo.
Rock and roll, Andrea. All right, we're into the challenge. We're going to ask each of you on a piece of paper. You can do it now, you can do it later. What we know is if you do it later, there's a 50% chance you won't do it at all. So therefore, we're going to recommend now, but it's your business. You're the CEO. Is we're sitting here, let's just call it June 1st.
Okay.
Right, let's just fast forward 5-6 more days. Let's call
Take
it
Memorial Day
June 1st.
weekend off.
All
Some
of
of us
June.
are on vacation anyway
Well, and isn't Memorial Day weekend coming up?
this weekend.
Yeah, so let's just call it June 1st. So we've got all of June, all of July, all of August. So Andrew and I are gonna, hypothetically check back in with you on 9/1. So that's 90 days from June 1st for round numbers.
Mhm.
How many listings will you take between June 1 and 9/1? Write that down. We'll promise you before today's over, we'll give you some skills or some strategies of how to get listings. But this is the dreaming part, right? The biggest dreamer is also the biggest doer. So this is the dream. We'll talk about the doing next. How many listings will you take? And then we just want you to knock that down into bite-sized chunks. So benchmark 1. How many listings will you take in the first 30 days?
90 days is just a really long time. It's hard to stay motivated and focused for 90 days. And yet what we're proposing is a 90-day challenge. So breaking it down into 30-day increments, it makes it easier.
Yeah, so maybe if you're going to take 20 listings, you take 5 the first month, 7 the second month, and 8 the first month.
The last month.
The last month. 5 the first month, 7 the second month, and 8 the last month. And logic behind that is if you're not used to taking 20 listings, well, then 5 is potentially realistic from the skill set you're at, the habits you're at. The second month, you're improving your skill set. You got a pipeline of people, so that's 7. The third month, you're now in momentum, so that could be 8. Right? There's no right or wrong. You could also just call it 30 listings in 30 days, do 10, 10, 10. There's, it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really going to encourage some prizes. So when you hit that benchmark, let's call it 10 listings in the first month of June. And what prize we have, and that prize can be for yourself or it can be for others. Because what we know is that if you're really committed to hitting this goal, there's going to be sacrifices. That might be with your spouse, that might be with your kids, that might be with your parents. Like there will be sacrifices for the time and energy this takes. And so giving a prize to yourself, having that victory, then moving back into the challenge immediately and getting in the second month can really be that like rewarding deal. What?
Yes, that rewarding deal. We're all about that. No, I mean, this goes back to 90 days is a long time. So break it down to bite-sized chunks. I'm going to work a lot harder because in this 30-day period, if I'm like, okay, I just have to hit 5 listings in 30 days and then I get a spa day. And then let's do it. Like I'll worry about the other 60 days afterwards. I'm going to focus on that for right now. So it's the same thing. You're just kind of tricking your mind into breaking it down into bite-sized chunks that you can understand and actually attack and deal with. 90 days is just way too long. Like I'm looking at this. I think the dates you just proposed went through like September 1st.
Correct.
Oh my God, that's so far away from now. Like I don't want to stay committed until September 1st. That sounds like forever. But June 1st to July 1st, do X amount and get this cool prize. Okay, I can do that. I'm going to focus in and just do that for right now. I'll worry about the rest later.
So what was our first prize?
$1,000 Nordstrom card.
Yeah, I had 10 people in my organization, and each one of them, I offered a $1,000 Nordstrom card if we hit our first month's price.
Wait a minute, Greg. Wait a minute. So you offering us $1,000?
No, sir. No, but what I am offering you is that you guys could all definitely afford and easily pay for your own Nordstrom card when you hit your own prizes. Like it was a big deal, Terrence. Like 10 people, that was a $10,000 check that I was potentially writing. To be honest, I never thought we'd hit our goal. Right. This was a long time ago. I had limiting beliefs and I just didn't have the confidence I have now. But I realized through consistent activity that confidence grows quickly. It's kind of what I was talking about watching the NBA last night with the playoff team, or all weekend for that matter. Just the confidence of these best teams playing each other was pretty exciting to watch. I didn't have it. So I offered the whole team a $1,000 Nordstrom card each if we hit our first 30-day prize. They went and hit it. Terrence, they hit it. I had to go to Nordstrom and write a $10,000 check. In fact, my Visa got declined because it's not used to having $10,000 being swiped on it. But I figured it out and I showed up the next day. But here's the cool math. We took 30 listings that first month. And our listing, similar to Katie's and Eugene, average commission is about $10,000. So we brought in $300,000 of potential revenue for something that cost me $10,000. I'd say that was a pretty good return for Craig.
So I think you kind of set me up here right now, Craig. So does it sound like I need to offer a $1,000 gift card for these goals to you guys?
I don't think you do, buddy, because if my understanding is correct, each agent, I was running a team and you're running a brokerage.
Oh, okay.
Is that correct? So this was for my team. Yes. Sarah's like,
yes, stop talking about it.
You get me out of this one, but
I'm
hey,
getting you out of it, Karen. So
how would I structure something like that for my team to motivate them to hit these goals?
Well, number one is I would structure it with them.
We all like Nordstrom, so
yes,
we hit something here.
Yeah, we hit a hot spot. Number one is I'd structure it for them to make their own goal with their own prize, unequivocally, like their own goal with their own prize, like that's for sure. Because this is something it's going to take their daily motivation, their consistent habits to do it. And what I would do if I was a brokerage owner is I'd be meeting with them when I got back in town from Charlotte. I'd be like, okay, Erica, tell me about your goal. Tell me about your prize. I wouldn't let them off the hook. Devin, tell me about your goal. Tell me about your prize. Stacy, tell me about your goal. Tell me about your prize. And I would work with it there. And maybe you could provide some kind of listing challenge in the office. And it's like, hey, between all of you, if we take, I'm just making up a number, but if we take, 45 listings in the next 30 days, I'll take everybody out to Nordstrom. I'll rent a limo and everybody got $100 from Terrence. Like that's something I could see doing in your position. But with us, with the splits we had set up, it just made sense on the listing side. So I'm not putting you on the hook that you need to offer this, more for them. And by the way, a lot of the prizes that we see are not for the person, they're for their kids. It's like, hey kids, dad's going to go and work his ass off for the next 30 days. You're not going to see me as much as you see me the last 15 months. But here's my promise. Dad goes and takes 5 extra listings more than he normally does. Dad's going to take you to Disneyland in July. Right. So a lot of the prizes we saw were not based around going to us. They're for the people in our life that we were actually going to be sacrificing that relationship for a short period of time so that long term, we could actually spend more quality time with them. It's a good question. Okay, and then,
Yeah, I
bench.
got my wife in the background cheering for that one.
Okay, perfect, Crystal. Good job.
Nice.
Well, it's the truth. Like, I have never, Crystal, worked harder in 20 something years in real estate than the first time I went through 90 and 90. But I've also, the difference was I've never been more committed. I've never worked harder at a goal. Like, normally I go through a class like this, I get a goal, I write it down, I work at it for like 3 days and I give up. Let's just call it like it is. A lot of us do that. I'm not the only one that does that. Like, right, what is it like? Oh, I'm gonna get healthy at January 1st, and like gym membership spike. And then by January, like you go to the gym that first week of January, it's just packed. And then you go to the gym January 10th on, it's just back to the same people that normally care about being healthy. Does that make sense? So this is about really being dedicated for that 90-day period. Katie or Matt, anything else you want to talk about with the benchmark surprises?
Well, Craig, let's just back up for 1 second. When you started your first 90-90, did you like prep for 6 months on this? Like, tell us how you started and like, when did you, explain that story.
Yeah, we didn't. I've done that before too, Katie, because what happens, like, okay, well, I'm going to list a bunch of homes and now I got to practice a bunch of scripts and now I've got to do all these things. And so I'll spend like 3 weeks. And what I call that, Jesse, is getting ready to get ready, to get ready, to get ready. And I actually never do anything. And then one of those like fires comes up in my life, like a low appraisal or a bad inspection, or my daughter gets sick. And next thing I know, I just don't end up doing anything. So to answer your question, Katie, like we kind of talked about this challenge on like, it's Monday. And then we literally put the challenge in place like that Friday, like 3 or 4 days of some quick prep, and we launched it right away. Because what we know is if we spend too much time getting ready to get ready to get ready, we never actually do anything.
So I love that. So literally you're saying that you went from listing a home for a month to 1 week later, you said, okay, I'm going to just do this. And then you went from literally 1 a day and it hit 30 the next month.
Yeah, we actually hit 28. Our goal the first month was 25 and we hit 28. Yes.
And you guys, so I love that the goal for June 1st is realistic, you guys. Like that's a real goal. And by the way, the next 6 months or next 3 months, like we don't have a crystal ball like much further than that, but this is the most lucrative, advantageous next few months that we've ever seen in our career. So honestly, take this to heart. Start June 1st. This is just in a few days. Craig went from 4 homes to 20 to 28 in 1 week. You guys can do the same thing. So this is real time. This is a real thing for you guys to really put your mind to and stretch yourself.
Yeah, I can't think of a better time to take on a listing challenge than summer of 2021.
Yeah, seriously.
Right. Well, Crystal's nodding her head because she gets it. Because guys, it's not even like you go and take 5 additional listings and 3 out of 5 of those become buyers. And the good news is now they're homeless buyers because you sold their house. They're motivated to buy. You go and take 5 listings, you'll have a neighbor call you up saying, hey, I want to sell my house. I saw you sold the house across the street. Like you go and get additional listings and it turns into like 2 or 3 additional sources of business just beyond those listings. Cool. Oh, I got to share screen again.
Yeah, got it. Go back.
I'm doing a good job. All right. So what are your goals? What do you want me to do?
Oh, go to the next slide.
Andrew's like yelling at me. I feel like, all right, we're almost done with foundation and we'll get into it, but create a motivational flyer. Ours was nothing pretty. It looked like that. Now, one of the things we did to make it pretty is we made it neon. We made it stand out. I put these in my car. I put these in my office. I put these in my cubicle. And it was just clarity of how many listings I'm going to take. And what the prizes were. Mm-hmm. I got super weird and I actually took this flyer and I got it laminated. I hung it up in my shower.
Super weird.
It is super weird, but why did I laminate it, Matt, and put it up in my shower?
It's such a visual you can't ignore. I mean, you're in your shower, it's right in front of you. And I've done the same thing with other affirmations and things that I want to crush. It's a great thing that you can't escape.
Well, Matt's right. My routine's pretty simple. Like I get my butt out of bed reluctantly most mornings, and I just kind of head to the shower and I wake up and then I get powerful. I start my day. So about the time I'm waking up, I look and like taped to the wall is this neon sign that says, Craig, your job is to take X listings this month. It's like crap. And then I get my coffee and I give the kids a hug and I get in my car and there's a neon flyer sitting in the seat next to me. It says, Craig, your job is to list X homes this month. I'm like, okay. And then I get to my office and I sit at my desk and on the wall next to me is a sign. It says, Craig, your job is to take X listings this month. Like you start thinking through that and it does sound weird, but is it a big surprise I hit my goal, Crystal, when there's these constant reminders around me of what my goal is? How often do we make a goal? We don't tell anybody. We don't write it down. We don't have visual reminders.
Of course it's not gonna happen.
Shocker, we don't hit the damn goal. So I was just very clear of doing that over and over.
Oh, so Craig, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So in your time getting those 90 listings in 90 days, what was your main lead source? Was it door knocking? Was it just listings you had, getting calls from other sellers in the neighborhood? What was your main funnel for that?
So we are going to share that with you. I know that's the exciting part. I was just looking at my paperwork. We are 5 slides away from giving you those strategies. So can you hold tight a little bit? I know you're on vacation time. Probably got a margarita you're waiting for at the pool. So
that's tea. That's not me.
I promise you, we'll give you those strategies. Wait, was that T-Mac or was that Terrence?
That was T-Mac. Yeah, I'm at home in my dining room.
You're on vacation time.
Yeah,
So
then he threw a little shade on me. That's all right though.
That's right. That's right. No, T-Mac, I promise you, we will definitely give you a bunch of strategies from sphere of influence to door knocking to people calling you saying, list my home. We're almost through the foundation. We'll spend the next hour and a half giving you a bunch of strategies. Is that fair?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Sounds good. And sorry, I appreciate you asking a question because I just figured it was Terrence because I'm not used to people like unmuting themselves, which is cool. Like I hope everybody does. Plus, I can't really see you all, so I got to work on my analytics here. All right.
And you guys, if you have questions, just unmute yourself and hop in.
Yes.
We want this to be super interactive. We want you to get as much out of this as you can because believe me, the question that you might have, I promise you there's at least 3 or 4 other people in the room wondering the same thing. So
I 100% agree with that. Set clear expectations, right? We'll talk about that in a moment and hold team meetings. Why don't we just jump over to those? So here's a copy of our flyer. So here's kind of our clear expectations. This is actually a contract that you guys sign. Like, whoa, this is super weird. Yeah, sign a contract. Like, and if you read the fine print, it says my lead generation time. Guess what? You're gonna have to do some form of lead generation, T-Mac, which is what you just asked about to take more listings. So my lead generation time be daily from X to X. In addition, I'm committed to doing extra lead gen or lead follow-up when necessary, evenings and weekends. And then it's got the benchmark here. So it's also like, who do you want to, we had a team meeting of like who we invited. And so we invited our loan officer, we invited our title rep, we invited Terrence to the meeting. It's like we got our kind of most influential people in our business lives in a room. And we're like, hey, Andrea, I'm going to go on this journey and I'm going to go and list 20 houses in the next 90 days.
Okay.
There's going to be some sacrifices. It's going to suck. It's going to be exciting when I hit it. My big why is this. I want to save money to take care of my mom. I want to save some money and pay off some debt. I want to make some extra money and buy a house. Cool. Right. And so, right, like, here's why I'm doing it. And here's my goals in the 20, and here's what I do each month. And it's like, it seems like a weird step, but having this, what we call commitment meeting, can be really powerful.
Super. Yeah. Well, so to kind of tie that all together, it's the meeting, you invite everybody, you tell them what's going on, you're laying the foundation, weird, there's that word again, foundation, of everything and why you're doing this. And then now you have this flyer up all over and it's in neon. So it's reminding you, it's reminding the people who were at that meeting who might stop by your office or kind of walk by and see. It's reminding other people who see it, they're going to just ask you, like, what's that flyer all about? What's going on? And so it's just this, all these things play together so that you don't lose momentum and you continue through this challenge. Like all we've been talking about for the last hour is like how to lay a foundation that's so solid you can just build off of it and there's no going back.
Totally. All right, so this brings all my lead generation will be daily from blank to blank. In addition, I'm committed to working extra hours. So Andrea, we're doing lead gen every day from like 9 to 11.
Yes.
And then we're doing more lead gen when?
Evenings and weekends.
Evenings and weekends.
Sucked.
It was the worst thing ever.
We basically had no idea what we were doing because we'd never done it before. So we're like, oh, we heard lead genning from 9 to 11. That's how you hit your goals. And so we said we'd lead gen from 9 to 11. And then what we very quickly realized is that we've never done this before. We had no idea what to do, who to call, what to say. We're just kind of figuring it out. And 9 to 11 did not do it. So because we were so amateur at this, we also had to add in weekends, evenings, extra time. We ended up expanding to 9 to noon, like all this extra stuff, because all of a sudden it's like we have this goal and we have this plan that we thought would get us there, and it it wasn't working. So we could either change the goal and do less. That was an option. But for us, it wasn't. We had already committed to our goal. So all we could do was just more lead gen so we could get to that goal.
So in other words, we sucked at lead gen. We didn't know what to do. Terrence, we didn't know who to call. T-Mac, we didn't know what to say. So we just started just like randomly calling people, and we actually had some success, but we just weren't good at it. So then we realized, well, if we call more people, we'll have more success. And we realized if we actually like crafted this and practiced some scripts, we could convert people faster. And so it was just an evolution. I pictured it like going to the gym for the first time in my life. And it's like, I'd never worked out. There's all this equipment.
Which I'm like, you've never seen a gym before.
Yeah, and it's like, if I just knew if I lifted a weight, I'd get stronger. But no idea like what lift to weight, what form to use, how many reps to do. But bottom line, if you just lift something over and over, you get stronger. Well, we all have something called a telephone. Wow, I just unplugged it. Got excited. But yeah, we also call a telephone. If we actually just pick it up, Devin, and we call a group of people and say, hey, I'm a real estate agent. You thought about buying or selling? That's not the most powerful script on the planet, but it's similar to picking up a weight. If you ask that question to enough people, guess what? Somebody would actually say yes. And so at first we just weren't good at it, which means we had to work those additional evenings and weekends to get better at it. My commitment meeting will be blank. That's where you might meet with some influential people that love you, and tell them what you're doing. And here's the people I'll include: my loan officer, my title rep. I might include my spouse or my kids. Like, here's what I'm going to do. Like, when you make a commitment and you share that with a group of people, you're more likely to do the things you don't want to do when the going gets hard.
Yep.
All right. We're going to talk about A, B, and C's. What's that?
That's a break.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take a break right after this, and we'll get to our first strategy. Katie, what do most real estate agents across America call an A?
I'm ready to buy or sell in the next like 30 days.
Yeah, most of us will classify an A. I agree with you, Katie. Like, ready to buy or sell a house in the next 30 days.
Yep.
And Andrea, what do most people classify as a B?
Buy or sell in the next probably 60 to 90 days.
Yeah, 30, 60, 90 days after 30.
Yeah.
And what's the C? Well, anytime after that, right? Would you guys agree that that's kind of how most people classify A, Bs, and Cs? We probably all in some capacity heard this before. So we shake it up a little bit different here at RCC. And I don't disagree with that classification, but in our coaching company, we do shake it up a little differently. And A takes your advice. So Katie, the house is listed at $500,000. It's got 6 offers on it. And if you have any chance of winning whatsoever, I think you got to come in at $550,000.
Oof, I don't like it, but I trust you. I'll do it.
And A is super motivated, Terrence. That's what it comes down to. And I'm not saying there'll be certain scenarios where that person just can't go that high, of course. But the bottom line, and A is really motivated. They take your advice. Now, Katie, if we go through that same strategy, it's like, hey, Katie, the house is listed at 500. There's 4 offers on it. I think you got to come in at 540 to have any chance. If you're a B, what do you say?
Let's just actually do 500,000 asking price. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be.
Yeah. How many of your agents right now, Terrence, are working with a bunch of Bs, right? It's like, well, if it works out, it works out. And I'll share with you, there's no bigger beat down in this industry. There's no bigger source of exhaustion, frustration, than spending our time with bees. They're great people, by the way. Like, I love bees. Like, they're amazing human beings. Like, they're great individuals. But ladies and gentlemen, we spend a lot of time in this industry working with unmotivated people, because what happens is our A's buy homes, our A's sell their homes, and then we get kind of stuck with this funnel of B's and C's, and we're out with them. They're losing. In this market, I get it. Like, even an A can lose several times in this market, but A's will figure out a way to win. I'm sure you guys have similar stuff. Like, in my market, there's some crazy stuff happening, like waiving inspections, waiving appraisals. Like, there's crazy stuff. Yeah. But bottom line, Joseph, is A's still find a way to win. Like, maybe A's go crazy. Like, I don't know. But A's find a way to win. B's are just like, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not going to offer that much. And we go home super exhausted. It's like, wow, it was a perfect. B's are even worse. B's will be like, I really like this house, but the kitchen is the wrong color. It's like, are you kidding me? Like, you're not making an offer because the kitchen's the wrong color? Like, we've all kind of had clients like that, right, Crystal? And that's just to be. They're great human beings. But what we go home frustrated, and we'll tell our spouse, like, I cannot believe they didn't offer on that home, or I can't believe they didn't offer 20 more. And we're mad at them. And here's the reality, Jesse, we should only be mad at ourselves because we're giving a B or C motivation or A quality time. I repeat that so often in this industry. Yeah, we'll give a B or C motivation or A quality time. That's what it comes down to. So Andrea, how do we find A's? Is there like a club A in Tacoma where all the motivated go?
Yeah, we were just at it this weekend.
We're actually at a pretty cool bar. Yeah.
Try some A's there. No, there is no club A.
Is every for sale by owner an A?
Absolutely
No,
not.
some for sale owners are not motivated.
No.
Is every referral an A? Just because you get a referral from a friend, does that mean they're referring you a super motivated person?
Nope.
Okay, so we know it's not for sale owners, we know it's not club A, and we know it's not referral. So how do you find A's?
You don't. Like, all you do is wake up every day and find leads, A's, B's, C's, D's, and you work them, and you take the A's and you put them in your car, you put a sign in their yard, you take the B's and C's and you put them in your funnel. It's a nice cute funnel picture I found, and you work them.
Andrea made this PowerPoint. She's very proud of it, Terrence.
I like it. And you wait and you touch on them and you stay in touch with them till they come out the other end as an A. So no, the answer is there's no club A. You find A, B's, and C's every single day. You take the A's, you work with them now. You stay in touch with the B's and C's till they become A's.
Yeah, it's really challenging. What happens with and the C's just aren't motivated. We haven't covered them, but we shouldn't have to. Is that what happens is the the B's and C's, you plop them back in the funnel. And that's super hard because you spent time with them and you're like, man, I've spent all this time with them, Crystal. Like, I just want to get paid. And it's like, but you're just spending more brain damage time with an unmotivated person. Just have a real conversation like, Katie, I love you. Like, you're an amazing person. You're a great client. But at the end of the day, your motivation does not match this market. The offers you're willing to write, unfortunately, don't match the craziness of this market. So either we're going to have to start making stronger offers, or maybe we should take a break, let the market simmer down, and we put them back in the funnel. Hold on one second, I'm on a heater right now. Most of us are afraid to have that conversation with people. Why are we afraid to have that conversation?
Because we put so much time and effort into them, we don't want to lose them.
We're afraid we're going to lose them. And why are we really afraid we're going to lose them, Joseph? We're afraid we're going to lose them because we don't have that many other clients. We're afraid to have that honest and real conversation with Jesse nodding his head. It's like we're afraid to have that honest and real conversation with a freaking unmotivated person because they're the only client that we actually have right now that's out seeing homes. Right? And so what would it look like if we actually have the guts to have that honest conversation and then we put our time and energy going back into it, right? Going back into my slide deck here. Let's go to the bottom. We put take our time and energy for every day, 10 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, 7 minutes a day, 2 hours a day. It's your business. It's your goals. So we don't know how many minutes a day you got to put into it. And you take that time and energy looking for A, B's, and C's. And the A's are motivated. You go and represent them. And the B's and C's, you put them in your funnel. And we're going to share with you throughout today how to communicate with that funnel so they don't jump out of it. It's that simple. All right, I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, you're good. You got right at it. Is that, I think you're right. We do spend a lot of time working with B's and C's. And I'm going to focus more on the B's actually for the moment, is that they probably will buy, right? Like, and we go through this, we're like, well, then what if they go buy without me? And what if they do this? And what if they do that? Well, they're either going to go buy without you or not at all, right? A lot of times we hold on to them and then they're like, see, they did eventually buy. Okay, great. So you got that one sale.
After 6 months of brain damage.
Yeah. How many sales did you miss out on? How many other A motivated buyers or sellers did you miss out on because you were working with this B when you could have caught 5, 6, 7, 8 other A's coming at you? That would have been no brain damage or a lot less brain damage and 7, 8 sales instead of 1. So just kind of putting in their perspective is that it's not a like, oh, well, they're going to just go buy with somebody else and I won't get that sale, or they might never buy, right? It's thinking beyond that to like, what if, heaven forbid, they do stay and work with you and eventually buy? And how many sales did you miss out on? How many opportunities did you miss out on helping people with a lot less brain damage because you were so focused on that 1%?
Well, and A's are grateful. Like, A's are so funny. It's like, Katie, you got to offer 50,000 over asking. And then I call you, it's like, Katie, you won. And A's are like, oh my gosh, you're the best agent. I'm like, you just paid 50,000 over asking. Okay, amazing. And B's like give you a hard time. Like, B's are like, hey, you got to offer 25,000 over asking. You're like, no, I'll come in at 5,000 over. And then they lose and you call the B, it's like, hey, Andrea, sorry, they went with another offer.
What did you present it in person?
Did you write my letter? Like B's are pissed they lost. It's like, well, of course you lost. You didn't write a good offer. Like A's are so much more rewarding to work with. So with that said, we're going to take a break here. It's 10:36. We're going to take a nice 9-minute break. Catch up on some emails, put out some fires. And I hope you all come back because Andrea gets really sad when people don't come back. And so it's 10:37. So we'll see you all back at 10:45. How's that sound?
Come back.
All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Buddy. As people are logging back in, maybe just take a couple seconds. Any ahas from the first section? You guys think about the A, B's, and C's, your big why?
Yeah, I like the part about the A, B's, and C's because, like you said, a lot of B's can really waste your time. Like you said, months of wasting your time and still never buy, while your A's are passing you by because you can't get a chance to get to them.
Yeah, that's well said, T-Mac. I agree, dude. If we're doing this, if you're somebody's brand new, that's a little different. But if you've been in the industry a couple of years, I think there's a certain amount of clients who are just kind of flying by us. I really believe that. And if we've got our head down and we're focused on a B or C, we're literally don't have the capacity to reach up and grab them.
Yeah,
so
correct.
You don't even see them.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say you don't even see them. You don't have the capacity. You don't even see them.
And it also seems to me that B's are always more demanding than the A's.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a double beat down because it's triple. One is they're wasting your time, they're more demanding, and they're costing you the ability to be working with true A's. So it's
Right.
like we're losing 3 categories, but we hold on so tight to them because they're like actually out seeing homes with us. In a different market, you'll see a lot of B and C sellers. Like, well, I think your house is worth 500, and they'll put their house on at like 560. They'll be like, I'm not going to lower the price, do more open houses or advertise more. It's like, dude, I could get a blimp above your house that says buy me. It doesn't matter. You're overpriced. So, yeah.
And don't beat yourself up too much because they could have looked like an A in the beginning and then you got suckered into working with them. The point of having a coach or that mentor is that every week is reevaluating, like, what did you do last week? Like, what could we do better this week? And so sometimes you might have said, like, they were an A, they were going great, but now it's been 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks or whatever that looks like for you with that client. And having that coach to say, like, no, we need to reevaluate. Like, who did you spend your time with? They're actually not A's anymore, right? So again, having that mentor in your life is really critical to make sure that you stay on track.
It's really good, Katie.
I love that, Katie.
Smart.
All right, let's go back to
one of the things that I've noticed that helped with me personally is when you first sit down with the clients, trying to set that expectation before you get out. Some people, you still got to go through it a little bit, but when you set that expectation up in the beginning, when you first sit down with your clients, before even getting out looking at homes, when you're doing your buyer presentation, like I know all of you guys are doing, it really does help out quite a bit with dealing with turning a actual B buyer into like A- buyer.
Yeah, you can do that with good scripting, a good setup of what this market is. You can turn a B into an A. You can turn a C into a B. And to Katie's point, sometimes people start out as an A and this market's so competitive that they turn themselves into Bs. And that's when we really get stuck as well, is that they start as an A, but then they move into not being as motivated. So just an awareness. We have a pipeline in our company and we go through that pipeline every week. So we just write down all of our clients, Susie, Fred, Earl, whatever their names are, and we'll just label, like, are they showing up as an A this week, a B or C? And it's just an awareness of where they at. And it's awareness of what it really is. It's a predictive sheet of what's my income going to look like in the next 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
Am I spending my time and energy with a bunch of B's and C's? And that will give me sometimes that motivation to go and look for more A's. As Terrence just said, it's like you can set that up front in that buyer console, but we're finding in this market, some people need a second buyer console. It's like, hey, we met 45 days ago, and since then, here's what we've experienced, and here's what's happening in the market. Maybe we need to sit down and talk again, and not just going to look at properties. So there's no right or wrong. It's just an awareness. Any other ahas from the first section?
Craig, I would just add, you were talking about A, B, and C clients. When we first started this, we were talking about mindset. And I think sometimes we have to ask ourselves, are we showing up as an A, B, or C agent? Like, where are we spending our time and energy? And are we Are we focused on the right goals and the right disciplines at hand? So sometimes we've got to rate ourselves. Are we an A, B, or C agent today?
It's really good, Matt.
Really great.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into some strategies. So T-Mac's happy. So he asked, so here comes the first one, buddy. All right, just listen with a twist. You guys have a copy of all of this. And if you don't have a copy, just Katie or Matt, maybe put your contact info in the chat chain, and she can email it directly to you or text it to you. But let's go through just listen with a twist. So let's do a little role play. So Katie, you want to role play?
Yeah.
All right, so here's just listed with a twist. Katie, I'm at your house right now. And you and Derek, your incredible husband, Derek, you guys just signed listing contracts with me.
Woo, I'm excited to work with you.
Yay, I'm excited to be your agent. Like, game on. We'll photography on Wednesday. You'll be on the market by Friday. And if all goes well, you'll be sold by Monday. Thank you so much for choosing me.
Awesome, let's get going.
All right, let's go out of script. For this strategy to work, you've got to go and get a listing. Right, I repeat, for this strategy to work, Devin, you got to go and get a listing. All right, so Katie, we just signed a listing. Photography Wednesday, you'll be on the market Friday. You'll probably be sold by Monday. Here's the script. Katie, can I ask for your help, just a little bit of your help to get you the most amount of offers?
Yeah, let's do it.
Katie, it is not uncommon that the buyer of your house is going to come from someone in your neighborhood.
Explain that to me.
Well, there's just somebody who lives down the street and they want their sister to live next to them. There's somebody who lives down the street and they want their best friend to move down the street so the kids are closer together. There's somebody who lives down the street and they like your house better than yours. They might sell their house and buy yours, right? It is not uncommon. The buyer of your house could come from somebody that lives in the neighborhood.
Okay, that makes sense.
So let's go out of script. Katie, where do you live at?
I live in North Eugene.
Okay, and who's some of your best friends? You've got Josh, you got Brian.
Stephanie, the Petersons. Yep, we got it.
Where do they all live?
All within 4 blocks of me.
They all live within 4 blocks of you. What did you buy last year, Katie, just so you can zoom over and see all of them?
I got a golf cart.
Oh, so let me be clear. You bought a house like 3 years ago in North Eugene, and since then, like 3 or 4 of your best friends have moved within 4 or 5 blocks of where you live. Yes or no?
Yeah, we moved here first, and I literally got 6 of my best friends to move within 4 blocks of me.
And you bought a golf cart so you can drunk drive. And I'm just kidding. Her husband is a police officer. So you got a golf cart so you can drive over and spend Fridays and weekends with them. Is that true? Okay. So it is true that sometimes when somebody lives in a neighborhood, their friends move close to them. Their family moves close to them.
Living proof of that. Yeah.
All right. So Katie, I need your help. It's not uncommon that the buyer of your property could either be a neighbor or friends of a neighbor. And here's where I need your help. I could do what a lot of realtors do and send out some just listed postcards, but that's kind of like whatever. What I want to do, Katie, is I want to send out something I guarantee they open. And the only way I can guarantee they open is a piece of mail that comes from your home address that says you and Derek in the top corner. What street do you live on?
St. Croix.
Okay, I want it to say from Derek and Katie on St. Croix. So in other words, I want to advertise to the neighborhood, but I want it to come from you and Derek, not from me. So it's going to look like it was written by you. It's going to look like it was stamped by you. And it's going to show up in their mailbox. And I don't know about you, Katie, but if I open my mail and I've got a bunch of like junk mail, I've got a bunch of bills, the one thing I'm going to open up is a letter from my neighbor. If I live on St. Croix and I get a letter from somebody in St. Croix, could you all agree you'd probably open that up first?
100%.
Okay, here's what the letter is going to say. Dear neighbors, we just listed our house with Craig Reger with Unique Style Realty. We're going to hit the market next week, and we wanted to give you guys an opportunity to know about it. If you know of anybody interested that might want to buy our home, I've included my agent's card. We've enjoyed being your neighbors, Katie and Derek. Katie, could I send out a couple hundred of those to the neighborhood?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. I'll take care of all of it. You probably get some return to sender. Just throw them in the garbage. I don't care.
Yeah, if that helps sell my house, go for it.
All right. So let's go. How am I going to find all these neighbors' addresses? So Matt, what did you do before you were CEO of a real estate company?
I was a title rep for 2 different title companies.
Oh, good. Ring, ring, favorite title rep. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. How are you, Craig?
Good, man. I need more listings.
Awesome. How can I help?
I just listed Katie's house on St. Croix in North Eugene. Can you give me the nearest 200 homeowners that own and live in their property around Katie at 123 Main or 123 St. Croix?
Yeah, no problem. Do you want me to send it over you with labels too?
Yeah, I want the sticky kind. So I just peel those off and stick those on there.
Perfect, no problem. You'll have them by the end of the day.
All right. So Terrence, would you agree if we sent this out to the nearest 200 neighbors from Katie that most of them will open it and I may get some phone calls I would not have received? All right, now let's plus it. Let's plus it. So it's Monday now. Katie, congratulations. I got you 4 offers on your property.
Woo, thank you so much. You're a great realtor.
Well, Katie, you have a great house. We had great marketing. It was a good team effort. You ended up getting what, 27,000 above asking. Congratulations.
Woo, so excited.
How happy are you and Derek?
Very, very happy.
All right, good. Well, I'm really happy for you guys. Katie, I hate to do this, but can I ask you for one more favor?
Yeah, you made me an extra 27,000. Go for it.
Well, thank you, Katie. I love your neighborhood, and we are in a very competitive market. It is really difficult to get great business right now. And if there's one neighborhood I'd like to do more business in, it's yours. Remember that letter we sent out?
Mhm.
It worked. I got a bunch of phone calls. I'd like to send one more from you, not from me. And here's all it's going to say is, hey, dear neighbors, thanks for your help. We ended up getting several offers and sold substantially above asking. I promised my agent, Jesse Daly, if he did a great job, I would tell the neighborhood how great Jesse is. If you have any interest in buying or selling a home, I'd highly recommend that you interview Jesse. We've enjoyed being your neighbors. We hope you like the people that bought our home. Peace out, Katie and Derek. Hey, can I send something along those lines to your neighbors, Katie?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So, Jesse, do you think if you had one of your clients send 200 letters, by the way, she's not sending them, you would do all the work, to the neighborhood you just sold a listing in, do you think you could get another listing? Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure, Terrence. We can get you a copy of all of that. We have found that by doing this, on average, for every listing we get, we'll get at least one more listing. And here's what's great, T-Mac, they call you. They call you and say, come and list my home. You know, what are the stats on this, Matt? Let's go through some NAR stats. 90% of consumers interviewed, well, I already gave Matt the stat. 90% of consumers, Matt, said they had a great experience. They would use their agent again. It's from National Association of Realtors interviewing people that bought homes. 9 out of 10 said, we're great as an industry, all brands, I'll use you again. Isn't that cool?
That's great.
So Matt, what percentage of people, when they buy or sell their second or third home, use the same agent they previously used?
That percentage is not as great. The average of NAR stats is 11 to 17%.
So how do we go? How do we go, Tanya, from 9 out of 10 people saying, we're great, I'll use you again, to only 1 out of 10 on average using the same agent? We don't stay in touch with them. We don't stay in touch with them. So what is so powerful about this letter is that when you're pinging from your clients 200 neighbors, odds are we know that their agent has lost touch with those relationships, those people we sold homes to. So there's a high probability. We've all seen it happen. We've all pulled into our listing after closing to pick up our lockbox. And as we're picking up our lockbox, we see a RE/MAX sign across the street. We've seen that so many times. Well, with this strategy, that listing across the street has a very high probability of being yours.
I like it.
Anything you'd add to that, Andrea?
Nope.
All right. Is that a strategy that you guys think would work in your market?
Well, and let's go over some basics, you guys, because there's always a lot of follow-up when this is gold. We had a new agent do this last year that had just got licensed, and he ended up selling 15 homes. 10 of them came from this. So
Wow.
he literally sold 15 homes his first year, 10 just from the strategy. Like, this is the one thing that he did and took and ran with. So it works. We've done it with major teams, with individual agents. It's a great strategy, you guys. Don't get cut off on this. Just go do it. Right? Like, if you guys, let's actually see some hands. You guys have your cameras on. How many of you guys have an admin? Awesome. Okay. So great. And then the rest of you, that's you, right? You're the admin. So I'm going to give you guys a break. If you have been in the industry for more than 3 years and you don't have an admin, or excuse me, if you've been in the industry for more than 3 years and you don't have like the perfect database, you don't have mailers going out, I know you intend to do this at some point, but since you haven't done it yet, you're not going to. It's been 3 years, right? We haven't had this perfect setup. I know that when you guys got in the industry, you were like, yes, I'm going to do all these mailers. I'm going to do this cool stuff. And if you haven't done it yet, you're not going to. So this crazy market, we just set amazing goals for June 1st. You guys are going to attack these big goals. So starting June 1st, just do this immediately and pay someone else to do this. right? If it's not you, then pay like a 17-year-old kid to write this letter and to get the mailers and to actually stuff the envelopes and to go and do it, because we just need action right now. If you guys are dedicated to the next 90 days of changing your life and getting as many listings as possible, this is the best tactic. And just get the stamps, get someone to do it, and just sit down and actually get this to happen. So that second letter is the pivotal one of the two. And we don't care if you handwrite it, type it, just get it out.
Yeah, it's really good. Like people get all, do I handwrite these? Do I type them? Like it doesn't matter. It's just a consistency of every time you get a listing. If you or someone does this for you, you'll get more listings. It's really that simple.
Super simple.
And so,
yeah, because the key here is the return address. That's the magic of it.
Who's
is the
it coming
return
from?
Is the return address. That's it.
Yeah, Erica, we can promise we will get all of you a copy of those letters, so you can just plug and play and stick them into your database.
Love it. And then
So on this return, one for the first letter coming from us, I know we're putting their address. Are we putting their name on there as well?
We are. Yeah, the
Okay.
whole thing looks like it's coming from the seller.
Right, but the first letter will be from us with our
Nope, everything is from Katie. The first letter says, "Dear neighbors, we're selling our home. It's going on the market. If you're interested in knowing more about it, call my agent Craig." Comes from Katie, the seller. The second letter says, "Dear neighbors, we did sell our house. I promised my agent if he or she did a great job, I'd recommend them. If you have any desire to buy or sell real estate this year, I would highly encourage you to interview my agent, Craig Reger." So both letters come from the homeowner, not from you. But obviously you're the one stuffing the envelopes, writing it all out. You're doing all, you're not asking the client to do that. You're just asking permission to write a letter from them. Yeah, good questions. All righty. Old expireds, what are they? What's an old expired, Andrew? We call this the $1 million strategy, because without exaggeration, we have made gross over $1 million. What's an old expired?
Old expired is somebody who was on the market and failed to sell their home 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, in the past.
So
not last night, not a week ago, 6+ months ago.
yeah, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So they put their house on the market, what are we in, 2021?
Yeah.
They put their house on the market in 2019 and they never sold, right? Did houses expire in Tacoma, Washington in 2019? Of course some expired, and they've never since relisted. Maybe they rented it, maybe they remodeled their kitchen, maybe they did nothing. It expired. So why do we call old expireds?
Because nobody else is calling them.
Yeah, they're not really getting many calls. They're not like the expireds from last night. By the way, there was no expireds from last night because everything's selling. The other reason we call old expireds is they're what I call a good news call, right? Let me walk you through that. Like ring, Katie.
Hello.
Hey, Katie, this is Craig Reger. I'm with the ABC Realty. How are you?
I'm doing good. What can I do for you?
Well, the reason I'm calling is I saw your house was on the market a couple years ago, and you guys didn't sell. Your house failed to sell. Is that true?
Correct.
Here's the good news. Your house has gone up substantially. We're seeing houses sell substantially higher than you failed to get 2 years ago. If I could get you way more money than you couldn't get a couple years ago, would you be a seller this summer?
I mean, I'm interested to see what that number is.
Yeah, so it's at the end of the day, values, I bet values have gone up in the last year in your market, what, 30,000, 50,000, some cases more? Am I making that up or am I somewhat accurate? Yeah, even higher. I mean, we've seen houses in Portland, Oregon go up $100,000 in the last 6 months.
Since like Thanksgiving.
So if you're calling somebody that failed to sell a year ago, 2 years ago, you actually have really good news to give them, Devin. Like, hey man, you couldn't sell. Like nobody gave you an acceptable offer 2 years ago at the price you wanted. I've got good news. I can probably get you way more than that today. Do we know for sure we can get them way more than that? No. But do we know that odds are houses have gone up so much in the last 2 years, we can probably get them more than they couldn't get. Yeah. So that's all we're asking for is a potential yes. And somebody's like, Katie, I don't know. Tell me more about that. I'd be like, all right, Katie, well, maybe we should meet. I'll do a quick run through your house. I'll give you a quick analysis. If it makes sense, we can talk about what it looks like to sell. And if you haven't made enough money, I won't bug you. So how's today at 1 or tomorrow at 2? Like it is a really great way to find business.
Mhm.
So Andrea, how do you find old expireds?
Well, I would start by leading with revenue. So scrub your multiple listing, find the expireds from, third quarter 2019. Let's just go with that. And then just double check if they've been relisted or not and call them. Like, it's that simple. Now, once you get going, if you do that and you're making a habit out of it and you're seeing results from it and you're doing it, lack of a better term, then you can call a company or hire a company like Mojo or Vulcan 7 or Red X or one of those companies that you pay to do all that for you.
So in other words, you can pay a company to find these for you,
Yeah.
but that costs money.
Yeah. And I wouldn't recommend doing that to start off.
So maybe you just pick an elementary school, like, South Park Elementary School. You pick an elementary school. I don't know, pick an elementary school and just search for all the expireds in that elementary school for the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yep.
You could do that.
Yep.
And then you could figure out which expireds expired that haven't resold. And then you could Google the client's name. You could look them up online. You could probably find their phone numbers, or you could send them a mailer, or you could drop something off at their door with essentially, this script. Because that's basically a version of the script that I just went over with Katie. It's really that simple. What I like about old expireds is it's a good news call, right? They're good news. Your house has gone up a ton of money. What I also like about old expireds is, to Andrew's point, you don't have competition. They probably had a bunch of calls 2-3 years ago when they expired, but nobody's called them since. So you're calling a group of people that aren't getting phone calls from agents, and it's a really high conversion rate.
Yeah, it really is.
Who doesn't want to hear your house has gone up a bunch of money?
Right. No, these calls are genius. The thing is that once you call through second quarter of 2020 or 2019, third quarter of 2019, like, you kind of exhausted them. Like, you can't really call them back. Maybe that's a limiting belief, but like, the idea is that, like, you kind of make it through all of them and then it's like, okay, I got to find something else. So that's why this is a great source. And we're giving you 11 others because it can't be your only source depending on how big your goals are.
Yeah, and here's the next one, new expireds. We know what that is. It expired last night. Why do we call them? Well, it expired last night. They probably want to sell their house. How do we find them? Same thing. You can scrub your multiple listing, or you can pay companies like Red X, Vulcan 7, Mojo, Land Voice, Coal Directory. All of those companies will sell you expireds. They'll sell you a list.
And you mentioned this earlier, like, there's not a lot of these right now because most things are selling, but there are still some. And it's a great time to get in the habit of doing this with 1, 2, 3 that come on a day and really get the momentum, the muscle memory of doing it, the system of doing it. Thank you. And then this market's not going to last forever. We're going to see a shift in it. And then all of a sudden you are very proficient at that, at getting these expireds, and you're just going to hit the ground running with it. So the market's going to shift and you're going to be ahead of the game. Yeah,
there's no doubt. I don't know when it's going to be, Erica, but there's no doubt we're not going to be in a market forever for the rest of our careers where every house gets 20 offers. Like, this is not normal. So to Andrew's point, at some point, houses won't sell as quickly. Some houses will expire. So if you were to master this now, how to find them, what to say, how to overcome objections, imagine what kind of position you'll be in when there are a bunch of expireds. When you call them in the morning. And what I'll share is that they're pissed. Like, new expireds are never happy. They've been on the market, they didn't sell, they're frustrated about something, be that communication, or they're just not in good moods, like typically is my experience. But it's pretty easy script, ring, ring.
Hello.
Oh, hi, well, you seem happy.
Oh, hello.
Hey, is this Andrea? That was amazing role play, by the way.
Yes.
Andrea, this is Craig Reger. I'm with ABC Homes here in Portland, Oregon. I saw your house expired from the multiple listing last night, and I'm calling to see when you intend to get that house back on the market and sold.
I'm pissed, never.
Yeah, right? What else would you say?
We tried to sell, it didn't sell. We're gonna wait till the market gets better.
You're the 20th caller, screw off.
Like, go away. I'm just mad.
So
might growl some more.
Yeah, so here's how you overcome that frustration. Andrea, I can clearly hear you're frustrated.
Yep.
I've got one question. When you put a sign up in your yard, where were you going to go? So let's go out of script. Here's a very defusing to the negative energy that new expireds have. Everyone has a plan. Well, I was going to move to the beach to be closer to my parents. I was going to move to Phoenix to be in the sun. My house is too big. I was going to downsize. Like, for good or bad reasons, everyone that sells a house has a plan. There's somewhere they're going to go, not always for good reasons, by the way, like good, happy reasons, but everyone has a plan.
Yeah.
So Andrew, I can completely appreciate your frustration. I don't want to bug you. I just have one question. When you were going to sell the house, where were you going to go?
We need a bigger house.
Oh, why do you need a bigger house?
Because we had twins and we don't have enough space here.
Oh, so you need a bigger house. You had twins, and you want more room for the kids and for you.
Yeah.
So you hear the coolest things when you ask that question, like where were you going to go? Bigger home. Why? We had twins, which is a real story. Andrew does have twins. They're 3 years old. Why? Because we had twins. And then I'll just follow up like, it sounds to me like you still deserve that. You still deserve a bigger home. You still deserve more space for your twins. Andrew, don't let the experience of one agent who didn't get it done for you stop you from having that bigger home with twins. I specialize in helping people sell that did not sell the first time. Why don't we meet for 20 minutes? If you like what I have to share, we can talk more about it. If you don't like what I have to share, I promise I'll never bother you again. What works better for you, today at 3 or tomorrow at 4? Right? Like if you guys did that every single day with your couple of expires, would you set some listing appointments? The answer is yes. But from all of my experience, that's the diffusing question when new expires. Like when you put a sign up in your yard, where were you going to go? And they'll have an answer. I guarantee they'll have an answer. And we just follow up like, cool, why is that important? And what we know, and this is something you can write down for taking notes, is that logic makes you think and
emotion makes you act.
Logic makes you think and emotion makes you act. We want them to act, Joseph, on allowing us to come to their home. Logic makes you think and emotion makes you act. So when I get to the emotion, well, where are we going to go?
We need a bigger house.
Why is that important to you?
We have twins now.
Stop there. That's the emotion. We have twins now. We need more space. The kids have grown, right? That's the emotion. Logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. So it's a really cool strategy to bring into sales when you can get to the emotion behind the decision, right? You've got that buyer that's refusing to make a better offer. Get back in the emotion. Like, why are we looking at homes? What's important to you about buying a new home? How would you use this new home? And when you can get to the emotion of it, they'll often make a higher priced offer on the buy side.
Mm-hmm.
On the list side, they'll often allow you to come over when you get to the emotion of it.
Hey, Craig, you've got a question in the chat box from Erica. She says, I have a listing appointment tomorrow of a recently expired listing. He is upset the previous agent never returned calls, and he is interviewing 2 more agents tomorrow. Any suggestions?
Yes. So who is that from, Erica?
From Erica.
Erica, hello. So,
hello. Hi.
Hi. So he was, thank you. It's a really good question. So he probably didn't feel, he had really bad communication from his agent.
Mm-hmm.
So
he said the buyers were calling him instead of his agent because his agent wasn't answering phone calls.
So he had really bad communication from his agent. He had a really shitty agent on communication. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, yes?
Yes.
I would get really clear, Erica, between now, what time's your appointment tomorrow?
At 4:30, and he's interviewing 2 more people prior to me.
Perfect. I'd get really clear between now and 4:30 on what your communication value proposition is. On what your communication value proposition is. So it's like an elevator pitch. So Andrea, Erica, I can give you mine because, by the way, this is the #1 frustration of home sellers was lack of communication. So we should all be really clear on Andrea. So let's say Andrea's a seller and I show up at her house, Andrea, it sounds like you and Gus had a lot of frustration with their last agent, not communicating with you, not responding to phone calls, not even responding to agents' phone calls.
Yeah. I don't know why I hired them.
Well, that's okay. I mean, it is what it is, but now you're interviewing 3 agents. I'm very thankful to be the 3rd. Can I share with you how I communicate?
Okay.
#1, every single time you get a showing, I get notified through the multiple listing. Well, let's even step back. All the showings are going to be set up through me, through showing suites. Like no one is ever going to call you for a showing. You're going to get a text message from me or my team saying, how's today at 1? How's tomorrow at 2? Like you're going to hear from only us on showings. Does that make sense?
Okay.
#2, every time you get a showing, I will be notified that the showing happened.
Okay.
And I'm going to reach out to that agent. I'm going to ask him, do you like the home? Are you considering writing an offer? Did you see any other homes you found superior? Do you have any feedback or questions for me or the seller.
Okay.
And whatever they say, good or bad, I'm going to immediately send you a copy of that.
Okay.
You're going to hear from me at least once a week. My calls are Monday, typically between 9 and 11. And I'm going to call all of my sellers whose homes I have not sold. And what that conversation is going to look like on Monday is like, hey, Andrea, we just got through the weekend. I'm expecting offers, or we don't have offers. Here's what I'm going to do different or more of to get your home sold this week. So, Andrea, you're going to hear from me constantly for showings. You're going to get feedback on what happened in those showings. You're going to get adjustments from marketing as necessary. And no matter what happens, you're going to hear from me every Monday between 9 and 11 with the feedback of last week and my plan for this upcoming week until I sell your home.
Cool.
Is that the kind of communication you're looking for?
Well, and if anything exciting happens in between our calls, will I hear from you on that?
You're going to hear from me constantly.
Okay.
Yeah, like my value proposition is speed, and we're in a very robust market, and speed is critical.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Andrea, I'm not surprised that I'm sitting here because there's so much happening in the market. There's so much energy and activity. If your agent was hard to reach or non-responsive, that's the only reason I'm here. And I can promise you this, if you hire me, that's not going to happen with me.
Cool.
So Erica, I'd give myself like a 6 on that. That was not a 10. But the good news is that if I was in your shoes, I'd have between now and 4:30 tomorrow to keep practicing that to make it a 10. So
Okay.
I think you just got to get clear on how you communicate, what value of communication you bring, how frequently you communicate, how you get showing feedback, how you set up showings, and wrap all of that into like a 1.5 minute elevator pitch.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, is that helpful?
Yes, very helpful.
Yeah. And by the way, that is the #1 complaint of people whose homes don't sell is my agent didn't communicate with me.
Okay.
So I mean, really, whether you're Erica and you have a listing appointment tomorrow who doesn't like agents with crappy communication or not, this is a really good value proposition for everyone to practice and know, because as Craig just said, like, this is the #1 issue with agents that consumers have with agents is a lack of communication. So knowing your value proposition inside and out, no matter who you are, is really, it's going to go really far in this industry.
Yeah. And good job. How did you get that listing appointment, Erica?
I called the expired last Thursday.
Great job. Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
Awesome. Did you send a listing packet?
Did I send a what?
Listing packet?
No, I did not. So I had called him. He currently lives out of town, but his property is in Renton.
Okay.
And I set up a Zoom meeting, but Friday he did not attend the Zoom meeting. So I had tried calling him Saturday. He didn't answer. So I was like, well, I'll give him a break a little bit just because the cancel was just on Thursday. And so then I called him back this morning and he said he'll be in town. Could we meet on that day? This is his availability, and he already had 2 agents before me, and this was his time frame. So
Excellent follow-up.
Yeah, really good job.
Really great job.
You got ghosted and you stayed after it, and now you've got an appointment in person, even better. So really cool.
Right.
Awesome.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. And whatever you did to get that expired, I would just say do that every single day. Because that's the issue, right? You have 1 appointment right now. What would it look like if you had 3 of those this week? You would for sure get 2 signed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good question on the value proposition. All right.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for being awesome. All right. What's a RAS, Andrea?
Reticular activating system.
So what does RAS mean?
Yellow Jeep.
What does yellow Jeep mean?
So, well, now that I've said it, you guys are going to go outside and you're going to see yellow Jeeps today. Like, it's putting something out there into the universe. And then now you start to see it and hear it. So like an example for me is that before I had twins, I'd like never seen, obviously I'd seen twins, but like, it wasn't part of my life. That didn't come up. I wasn't like aware of other twins in the world. Since having twins, I see them everywhere.
Yeah. Cause you pick up on what you're thinking about. It's yellow Jeep, it's twins, it's for me, I'm an active fisherman. So like I run into people in the same fishing circles. Like it's just the world gives you what you notice and you ignore a billion things that you don't care about.
Yep.
So how do you think somebody's good?
Well, it's pretty, where we're going with this is somebody who is actively looking to buy a house or sell a house is encountering other people who might be looking to buy houses or sell houses.
Their RAS is really high. Like, let's call it what it is. Buying and selling a house. And Terrence, you can like tell me that you want the money back because I'm going to get really raw about our industry. As good as all of you are, and as good as Andrea and I are, and as good as Katie is, and as good as Matt is, buying and selling a house sucks. Oh, yay, let's go and look at houses and let's have 7 offers on it and let's waive inspection, or maybe we do an inspection and it's got a bad foundation or mold in the attic. Like, and then let's deal with Crystal, and she's amazing, but we got to turn in packs of financial information to get a loan. Like, and then we actually get the house, and then we got to like lift stuff and move into it. Like, is buying a house a fun process? I mean, there's fun moments in it, but it is a lot of stress and a lot of work. Is that fair?
Yeah.
How about selling a house? Oh, did I take you off camera?
Sorry, it's like looking at the bookshelf and I care more about that.
See, look, more of looking at you. How about selling a house? Like, let's allow strangers to come through our home and check out our property. We've got to leave. We've got to make our bed in the morning. We've got to have no dishes in the sink. And then we finally get a buyer that accepts it. And we got to wait for them to get through disclosures and get through inspections and hope nothing goes bad with their loan. Like, is selling a house a lot of fun?
Nope.
It takes a lot of mental energy for a consumer to buy and sell a home. Is that fair?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the biggest processes or life events that people do.
So do you think their RAS is high, their reticular activating system? And do you think they're hearing and noticing during that time period that they're buying and selling? Are they hearing and noticing other people that want to buy or sell homes?
Of course.
They are. My first mentor gave me really bad advice. He was a good mentor, but it was bad advice. He said, Craig, your job is to do a great job. And at the end of the transaction, you hand them keys. And at that point, to ask for a referral. Like, you've earned the right to ask for a referral after taking them through a good experience.
Yeah.
Well, and he was correct in that, but here's the problem: is after I hand him keys, what is the RAS picking up on?
Shopping, staging,
remodeling kitchens, moving. Like, the best time to ask for a referral is when you're actively representing a buyer or seller, when you're showing homes, when you're at a listing appointment, when you're presenting offers to your seller. Because I guarantee you, at their work, their church, their friend group, they're running into other people whose RAS is buying and selling homes.
Yep.
So we just have an easy script for it. Want to read it, Andrea?
Okay. Hi, Craig. In the future, you will hear the phrase real estate. And when you do, would you mind doing me a favor? Only if you feel comfortable. Could you reach out to them and get their contact information and pass it on to me so that I can help them out with their real estate needs?
Yeah, it's that simple. Just constantly reminding people, hey, you're gonna hear the word real estate. When you do, think of me, pass out my card, recommend me.
Because now you basically said that what I just read in real estate is Yellow Jeep, right? So it's the same thing. You guys are going to go out and see Yellow Jeeps, like, I guarantee it.
Somebody will.
Unless you don't leave your house today. But it's the same thing. So now you're saying Yellow Jeep to them. You're saying real estate, and that trigger word is going to come up for them.
And when you hear that, would you mind passing along my contact info?
Telling them what to do.
Yeah. This script came from one of our coaching clients, Mr. Rustin Tong. Rustin is the #1 agent of Hawaii, all brands, all islands, #1. And he has built his business primarily, Terrence, off of that script.
Yeah.
You know, he's an all referral-based business. Hey, in the future, thank you for choosing me as your agent. In the future, you're going to hear the word real estate. And when you do, would you think of me? And would you connect me with that person? And then 4 days later, he's showing him homes like, hey, just a reminder, I know you're going to hear that word real estate in your friend group. And when you do, would you mind connecting me with them? And an accepted offer. Hey, Terrence, I'm so congrats and so excited for you got your house accepted. In the future, don't forget, you're going to hear that word real estate from your family and friends. When you do, will you connect me with them? And he's built the #1 business out of all the islands just from that script.
So guys, the key here is that script, rehearsing it and practicing it over and over and over and over, so you're internalizing it so that it can very easily come back out as you're speaking in conversations and it won't feel awkward.
All right, let's talk about database. Database. Database is the fundamental part of, actually, we can cross off the word database and we could write in the word data bank.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh, it says that below. Okay, data bank is the number, should be for all of us, our #1 source of business. Just should.
Uh-huh. Well, okay. We should actually go over this first before we gave any of those other strategies.
Yeah.
Because the point is, we don't need any other strategies. Like, why are we going out and convincing mean, grumpy expireds and sending out letters to people and all this other stuff and convincing all these people we don't know to work with us when we could just call up people who already know and love us and ask them for business.
We're just in a weird ass business. We really are. And what I mean by that is we spend more time, TMAC, convincing people we don't know to work with us than we do fostering relationships with the people we do know. Let me repeat that. This industry, maybe not you guys, but as an industry, we spend more time trying to convince strangers to let us represent them than we do trying to convince the people we know to refer us and use us again. An example of that's an open house. Okay, I'm gonna do an open house this weekend, and I'm gonna go to a stranger's home because it's not my house. I'm gonna hope other strangers come through. I'm gonna hope those strangers give me their contact info. And then I hope I can stay in touch with those strangers and ultimately they'll buy or sell a house for me. Yes or no? Is that not the premise of an open?
Yep.
It is.
I want to go to a cocktail party and talk to people who already like me and convince them to buy and sell with me next week.
Now, Katie, don't get me wrong. I think opens are a phenomenal way to grow our business. They're phenomenal. I'm only challenging though, that is the premise of an open. You've got to meet strangers and convince them to like you and let you represent them. We go back to NAR stats. 90% of consumers said a great experience, I'll use my agent again. 10% on average across the US when they buy or sell their second home do not use the same agent they used before. It's because we don't stay in touch with them. So here's the global question is, how often do you communicate with your database? So what are we on? We're on May 24th. So if I was to pick on Tanya or Stacy or Levita, so let's say it was a year ago, May 24th. Pandemic just started. It was a year ago.
Okay.
So we're like 6-8 weeks into the pandemic.
Okay.
And let's say Levita, represent my wife and I, we bought a home in Tacoma. And it was May 24th, Levita, and you handed us our keys. You were great. It was a weird time to buy a house, beginning of a pandemic. Everything was locked down. And it has been 1 year today, Levita, since you handed my wife and I our keys. You probably gave us some cool gift basket or something, but it's been 1 year since you gave us the keys to the house we bought that Crystal did the great loan on. And it's been 1 year today. Here's the global question. How many times have you communicated with my wife and I in exactly 12 months?
Laughing.
Do you care to tell us what that answer would be, Levita? You will have to unmute yourself, my friend.
Or should be.
About 3.
About 3. Levita's going, she's using technology. She's like,
I don't want to tell you.
I'm not going to talk to you, Craig, but I'll put it in the chat box. About 3. Erica, what's your number? T-Mac, what's yours? Tanya, what's yours? Devin, what's yours? Jesse, what's yours? And I'm not picking on you. You can type them in or not. The reality is, could we all agree for all of the work we go through? I mean, man, I got kids. I miss soccer games for my clients. I'm a golfer. I'm a fisher. I'm not really a golfer. I'm a crappy golfer. I'm a fisherman. You know how many times I've had fishing booked on a Saturday with my buddies? And then on Friday, Terrence, I got to call them up. Be like, I can't go out with you guys tomorrow. I got a buyer that just called. They want to see a house. My buddies are like, you always cancel, Reger. And it's like, dude, I'm self-employed. I don't have a normal job like you. I've got to work tomorrow. Like, do we make a bunch of sacrifices for our clients? Say yes.
Yeah.
And then we don't stay in touch with them after closing, Jesse. Like, what the hell's wrong with us? Isn't that weird?
Yep.
Would we agree, Levita, if you talk to my wife and I more than 3 times over the course of 12 months during a worldwide pandemic, we might have referred you more business? We might have had a coworker, a sister, a friend. Is that fair? Levita, I appreciate your honesty because that's why we own a coaching company. That's why all of you after today's call should set an appointment for a free coaching call with Matt and Katie, because we can really, really help you with your businesses short and long term. But we have this coaching company because we know, Levita, you're normal. That is normal. In fact, that is above average. Most people are like 0. So here at RCC, we know as certain as there is gravity, Reger Coaching Consulting is RCC. If you talk to your database less than 24 times a year, let me repeat that. If you talk to your database less than 24 times a year, you are leaving a substantial amount of money on the table. You just are. Your checking account is not as flush as it should be. Your escrow board does not have as many closings as it should. Your savings account does not have as much as it should. Your credit card has a higher balance than it should. Not because you're not great agents, not because you're not phenomenal human beings. And the reason is because you're not communicating with your database. Katie, what would you add to that?
Well, let's talk stats, you guys. Like, we're not here. You guys can choose how you want to do your real estate, how you want to sell homes. You guys can choose to do FSBOs or open houses. We're just here to give you the information so you can be more efficient, right? So if you guys were to collect a whole bunch of strangers, right, pay for leads, open houses, and communicate with them on a consistent basis, do you guys know how many people it would take in order to get one sale? So if I were to pay for leads, get a whole bunch of strangers, which are called not Mets, right? So I found them, I got them somehow, I had to work at this. It takes 50 people to get one sale. And that is if I stay in consistent communication with them for over a year. 50 to 1. I just watch Erica go, oh crap. So,
What you don't know is a 50 to 1 return with constant communication, constant marketing.
and by the way, those are right, people that we may not even like. Those are people that we paid for from leads or from grumpy people from an open house. So you don't even know who you're working with. And it takes all that time and energy and money to get that one sale for every 50 people. Now, if we work with people who we already know and have in our cell phone at this very moment, again, staying in consistent communication with our friends, families, and past clients, it's a 6 to 1. 6 to 1. And they're free, you guys. We already have them. We already know them. They already know your name. So if you stay in consistent communication with the people who you already know and you want to work with, for every 6 people in your cell phone right now, you'll get one sale out of that.
Yeah, it's really that simple. So how do we stay in, good job, Katie. So how do we stay in touch with them? Phone calls, text messages, emails, social media messages, client events, mailers, house anniversaries. At the very least, Levita, I could have got a text this morning. Congrats, Craig and Anne-Marie. It's been 1 year since you bought your home. Birthdays, Popeyes, gifts. There's a million ways to stay in touch. And, there's a reason. Where did we start today? Remember the org chart? The top said CEO, the right said listing agent, the middle said admin, the left said buyer's agent. You guys all remember that org chart?
Yes.
The reason Levita, and Levita's gonna come and punch me in the nose, I might deserve it. Levita, the reason you've only stayed in touch with me 3 times in 12 months is you're a bad admin. You're a bad admin, Levita. You're a really great real estate agent. I'm certain of that, but you're a bad admin. And so am I. And Katie's the worst admin I've ever met. She's a horrible admin. Katie is she is the greatest closer on the planet, but man, is Katie a crappy admin. She's just bad at the details. She's bad at the paperwork. She's bad at the details. And that is not uncommon, right? With people that go in our industries, we're people, we're salespeople, we're relationship builders. We love negotiating. We love houses. Most of us did not go into this business, Levita, because we're really good at sitting at our desk for an hour a day and sending out a touch, making a postcard, sending a newsletter, sending a special message like, hey, just checking in with you guys. It's been 4 months. How's your house? Most of us are not organized. We're good at the sales side. So I'm not picking on Levita. It's just our industry and who we are. So you've got 3 choices, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1 is do nothing. Just keep doing it like you've done it. That's your decision. Cool, not going to judge you. 2 is do it. Get out your calendar, time block 20 minutes a day. And for 20 minutes a day, work on your phone calls, work on your texts, work on your newsletter, and send it out to your database. So 1 is do nothing, 2 is do it. And Katie, what's number 3?
Oh, sorry, I was typing.
Number 3 is
leverage it.
Number 3 is pay someone to do it.
Pay someone to do it. Get some help, you guys. We are too busy in this market. Get someone else to help you.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting here, it depends where the kids go to college. But there's colleges already released and kids are back home. Find some kid that just got home from college and offer them $15 an hour and have them send out your mailers, have them do your email touches, have them drop things off at your favorite clients' doors and let them know that you care about those clients. Invest into your data bank. That's why we changed it from database to data bank. When you invest appropriately, you get a return. When you invest into your database or data bank, you get a return. And to Katie or Andrea's point, that return from your family, friends, and past clients is so much better than the people you don't know. Odds are if Devin's got a really cool client, guess what? Devin's friends are also really cool people. So if Devin does a really good job for a client and then that client refers Devin to his best friend, odds are that's going to be a cool dude. You pick somebody up off the internet or an expired or an open house, it's a crapshoot. They may or may not be a nice person. And that's fine. Like, I'm not saying those aren't good forms of business. What I'm challenging is, why would we go and convince people we don't know to work with us when Levita busted her butt and did a great job and only talked to us every 4 months throughout a pandemic? That's all. Does that make sense, guys? So number one is do it. Number one is do nothing. Do it like you've been doing it. Number two is do it yourself. That's easy. You just got to time block it, commit to it, be disciplined. We talked about that quote earlier, discipline. Or number three, to Katie's point, is like, pay some college kid to do it. Pay a friend down the hall, like pay somebody, you know, the small amount of money you'd pay them, imagine how large your return would be.
We're talking like $100, you guys. Like, just pay a kid $100 to stuff the envelopes for you. At least it gets it done.
It gets it done, and then Levita's phone rings. Early in my career, I was like Levita. I never touched anybody, my past clients. And no, I'm serious. I was just like you guys. Certainly like Levita, for being honest. I appreciate that. And then I went to this class, and I actually did it. I put together my database. My wife actually did it for me. And she said—
So you leveraged it.
Yeah, I did. And my wife sent out a mailer to our database. And this is how old school this was. This was like basically before cell phones. And I showed up, and the desk at my office was just blinking. I was like, that's weird. That phone never blinks. And then I pick it up. It's like, you have 7 new messages. And like message number 1 is like, hi, this is Sally. You sold my sister a home and I'm getting transferred and I need to sell my house. Well, Sally just got a newsletter 2 days ago from me. Hi, this is Bob. We want to buy an investment property. I sold Bob a house 4 years ago. Like, the first time I started doing this, like literally my phone just blew up. And to this day, Levita, 15 years later, I can essentially track. I can send out a touch to my database, and within 72 hours, I'll have 1 or 2 or 3 potential pieces of business. And the reason I call them potential pieces of business is I don't know if they're A, B's, or C's, but at least somebody's reached out to me saying, Craig, I want to talk to you about buying or selling a home. Hey, is Destiny still on? We got a runner.
She's got her camera off. I do have one other tip. For those of you that are like, oh my gosh, I don't have time to figure out how to do all of this. I'm sure many of you use Facebook. And one of the best tips I got from someone who's really actively engaged is called the LCM method. So if you see someone from your database on Facebook, first you like their post, second you make a comment, and third you send them a message. And if you were to do that to 20 people a day through your Facebook, imagine how many more people you're in front of, and you're not designing a postcard or paying money for a newsletter. It's an easy thing at your fingertips while you're watching TV or at a doctor's appointment. It's another way to stay in front of your people, and it's super simple.
Really good, Matt. So Destiny is going to share this with us. Can you make that a little bigger?
Yes.
She is. I just texted her, like, can you share this? And here it is. All right.
Oh,
wow.
go back.
So
there you go.
So here's a touch we sent out to our database a couple weeks ago. 84,100. Andrew actually wrote this touch.
Sure did.
The average value in Portland Metro went up last year. So I don't know what your market's gone up, but I bet you guys can figure it out pretty quickly. We just called our title company, right? And our title company said, yeah, the average home has gone up 84,100. 84,100 represents the additional amount of money you can capitalize on if you sell now. 84,100 represents the amount a buyer just lost waiting to buy now. 84,100 represents the amount the current homeowner has just gained in their largest assets. Whatever your situation, 84,100 is a lot of money. And if you own or have any interest in owning real estate, what would your number be? Could it be higher? Depends on your specific property. Will homes continue to skyrocket in value? Will interest rates remain low? We lost our crystal ball. We don't know the answer. What we do know is the current market is benefiting buyers, low rates, benefiting sellers, raising prices in an extreme way that can't last forever. If you want to capitalize in this historic market, let's connect, text me. We sent out this touch a couple weeks ago. Thanks, Destiny. So we send out a touch every 2 weeks. We sent out that touch a few weeks ago. That touch single-handedly gave us 7 listings. And that didn't go to people we didn't know, Levita. That went to those people we've sold homes to over the last 5, 10 years, 2 years, 3 years, 1 year. That very simple touch. So Katie, is that a really sophisticated, like beautiful high-end touch?
Oh, it's super basic looking.
Does it have
I
gold?
hate it.
Does
See,
that-
it's pretty.
Does it have gold leaf? Is it incredible?
What I love about this is that this is an example of just getting it done, right? Like just send it out, you guys. This didn't have to be like a flyer. It didn't have to be pretty. I mean, it's just, again, send the information out to your clients and just get it done. They don't care if there's like a banner and it's pretty. And I mean, she did like 50 emojis and just sent it out. Like just send it out.
Thanks, Erica. Yeah, I'd be excited too. Make it easier. Make it easier. Start putting your past clients into a database. If you don't have a database, use Excel spreadsheet. And our philosophy is twice a month they hear from you. Doesn't mean, Devin, you got to pick up the phone every single month and call them. That's good practice, but you might get busy. What I love about a touch like Destiny just showed you is that goes out whether or not I'm super busy selling homes. That goes out whether or not I go on vacation. What's my month of June look like?
Not good.
Like
You're gone like all but 2 days of June.
yeah, my mom is super old. So my kids and I are like, she's just old and it's been a pandemic. So she hasn't been able to travel. She hasn't been comfortable with us traveling because of the pandemic and she's old. So for the first time ever, we're all vaccinated and we're going to spend 2 weeks with my mom in Florida. Right before going to Florida, I'm flying to Alaska for a week and I'm fishing. Like I'm literally gone all of June. So let's call it like it is. Am I going to have time to call my past clients and check in with them? No. But what I know, if 2 of those types of emails or mailers go out, Terrence, my company's phone will keep ringing. Buyers and sellers will show up at my company's doorstep, whether I make calls or not. So Katie and I actually had a fight about this 6 months ago. She's like, you got to call people. And I'm like, you do. And before you call people, it's so easy to send an email and share with them 84,100. Share with them what's happening in your market and they will call you. I promise you they will. So I'm not saying Katie wasn't right, but it's like, if you're going to do one thing, get out 2 touches, 24 a year, 2 a month, and your business will be profoundly different, Levita, next year than it is today. I will absolutely guarantee you that. And to Katie's point, this is why, we would love for any or some of you to talk to us about coaching. Because if you pay us a small amount of money each month, I'll promise you this, Levita, those touches will go out. And whatever fractional amount you pay us, you will get a 10 or 20 or 30 time return from people calling you saying, represent me to sell my house, represent me to buy a home. And then we'll help you weed through the A, B's, and C's. So the group you're working with is just the A's, and that's when you have a lot of fun with balance. All right, let's move to the next slide. Actually, should we go to break? It's been an hour.
Yeah, let's take a quick break.
When do we end? 12:30?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do a break. It's 11:42. Let's take an 8-minute break, and then we'll come back 11:50 to 12:30 and wrap up the day. Sound good?
Perfect.
All right, thanks everyone. Break, yeah, lots of good touches happening. I kind of keyed in on Sarah Majors, like. I love, she was like, I do these holidays and it works. Where's Sarah at? Do I see her?
She's not on yet.
Sarah, yeah, I see
no
her.
camera.
I see her, no camera. Good job, Sarah, and many others of you. Like, I really liked hers because she said it works. Thing I would challenge on that is, or add to it, or plus, is, Sarah, a lot of yours were around like holidays, and that's super smart because it's set. Like there's going to be a Christmas every year. There's going to be an Easter every year. Like that is really smart because we know they're going to go out. Where I would challenge is be the hyper local expert, right? We think of what does a consumer want these days? Andrew and I were in Seattle. We've shared that 3 times. We did have a couple drinks after our class with some of the folks we attended with, and we were Ubered around. I'm like, what do you want when you push an Uber button?
I want fast, quick, easy, no conversation.
Yeah, looking for a driver, and then you want, okay, the driver's 6 minutes away, and right, you want that easy button. And that's what people really want is they want an easy button. They want hyper local market knowledge. And then they want whatever your superpower is, like what's your extra flair, what makes you special. So as you think about marketing to your database, think about that easy button of like fast, like, yeah, we're doing virtual showings. Yeah, we can easily get inside a property and FaceTime it too if you can't meet us. Like that's the easy button right now that a lot of consumers are moving to. Hyper local knowledge is like, hey, there's a dog park around the corner, or this school has these ratings, or right? Like be really familiar with your hyper local market knowledge. So Erica, that's something to also make sure on that listing tomorrow, like know where the dog parks are and know where the Starbucks is and know the rating of the elementary school because consumers want hyper local knowledge. They want an easy button. And then third, they kind of want your superpower. Like my script used to be, well, I'm the #1 agent in Oregon and we sell a ton of homes. Nobody cares anymore. What they care about is like, hey, I know this street and I know this neighborhood and I'm really fast to communicate. And by the way, I'm fun and we'll have a great time together. Like it's different of what consumers want now.
Yeah, and I think we have to kind of adapt too, because I think it's different for us too, and what we know and what our scripts are and all of that. It's like we need to adapt to the easy button and hyper local knowledge, just in every sense.
So I love Sarah sending out the holiday cards, and on the hyper local knowledge, I would make sure, very similar to the touch I showed you for my team, the average home in Portland's gone up 81,100. Right, that's hyper local knowledge of what's happening in my market. And that's what's going to attract people more to me than me sharing I'm awesome or me wishing them, happy Thanksgiving. And the happy Thanksgiving is rad. Like get that out because it's consistent. But weave in between those your hyper local knowledge and or your easy button. Like, hey, we're finding a lot of clients are busy, or my life has got crazy busy the last few weeks. Our schools are open back up. Our kids are back in sports, which is freaking rad. Like I get to go and watch my daughter play basketball for the 3rd time tonight in 16 months.
Awesome.
It's super cool, but all of a sudden we're busy again. Traffic is picked up in Portland. Traffic was hellacious in Seattle this week.
Yeah.
Like everything's getting busier. So, we're starting to put on our touches like, hey, if you want a virtual showing, just text this number and give us 2 times that you want to see it. And we'll set up virtual showings. You don't have to leave your house. What's your easy button? What's your hyper local knowledge? And then last but not least, like what makes you special or unique in the business you do? All right, shall we get back to the slides?
Yeah, that's good though.
All right. So these are just some good touches.
Some scripts. So
some
like
scripts.
We talked about right before we left to break is doing, maybe 2 emails a month or maybe a snail mail and an email, right? So you got those standard 24 touches and they're not necessarily standard, but it's like come hell or high water, those go out. Super easy, got it systematized, etc. Then on top of that, what our team does, what we recommend is doing just quarterly phone calls. Pick up the phone once a quarter. It doesn't have to happen every day on June 10th. If you're out of town that day, that's okay. You kind of can shift things around, but they're getting about 4 phone calls from you a year. And these are some great scripts in your work, but it has the full past client drive-by script. But these are some great scripts that work kind of if you completely lost touch with somebody or it's somebody who you are in consistent relationship with and have been talking to. Like either way, they don't sound awkward and can help you actually get back in relationship if you have lost touch with them. So these are just 2 of our favorites. Makes picking up the phone easy so you're not stumbling through anything or not knowing what to say.
Well, the first one is for people we've lost touch with. Like, I haven't talked to Terrence in 4 years. Like, hey, Terrence, it's Craig. Do you miss me? Do you know anyone that wants to buy or sell? Like, that's a weird call if I haven't talked to the dude in 4 years since I handed him keys. Does that happen in our industry? Say yes. So the first one's just pretty simple, like ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Andrea, it's Craig Reger with ABC Realty. How are you?
Hey, I'm good.
Good. I know we haven't spoken forever, and I drove by your house this weekend when I was taking Olivia to soccer, and I miss you and Gus. It's been a number of years. I wanted to check in. How the heck are you?
Hey, we're really good. Thank you.
Isn't that an easy script? I drove by your home. If you're out working in real estate, you're probably driving by people's homes. Like, use that excuse. Like, I know we haven't talked forever, and I drove by your house when I was working in your neighborhood, and I promised I'd call you guys on Monday.
Awesome.
So I normally, Terrence, won't ask for a referral on this call because I haven't talked to you in 4 years. I'm just checking in. So by the way, what have you been up to?
We had twins a couple years ago.
Holy moly,
yeah.
Congrats. How old are they?
Thank you. They just turned 3.
So now I'll update my database. Andrea had twins. And now I can call her a few months later and be like, how are the twins? How are you? And maybe at that point start asking for referrals. Is that fair?
Yeah. Side note, make sure you drive to the house.
Yeah, maybe it's sold, maybe it burned down. Like, you really should drive by it just to be in ethical, honest, yeah.
In honesty.
The other script is really easy. The other script is really easy. I believe this, Levita, Joseph, T-Mac, Tanya, Erica. I believe this. We should put Angie's List out of business. No one should ever have to go to a website to find a good house cleaner if they know a good real estate agent. No one should ever have to go to a website to find a handyman or a gutter cleaner or a furnace technician or a bug sprayer person. Like, no one should have to do that, because every one of you know those people. And if you don't know all of them, then Terrence does, or Devin does. Somebody in your office knows a great gutter cleaner. Somebody knows a great HVAC company. Like, as real estate professionals, we should be sharing. And by the way, do we refer crappy vendors?
No.
We try not to. Like, if I refer a handyman to my client because he had a bad home inspection, my hope and intention, it's a good handyman that will charge a fair price and get the job done. Is that fair?
Well, I mean, the reality is that as real estate agents, we deal with so many of these vendors so much and so often that, like, we really do have great ones. There's a reason why we go back to the same people over and over again, and those are the ones that we're sharing with others.
So here's what that looks like. This is the easiest way in the planet to touch people, both through email and through phone calls. So let's start at the beginning of it. So Katie, let's say that you own an HVAC company. You do air conditioning and you do furnace installation, tune-ups, etc. So ring, Katie, favorite HVAC company. How are you?
Good. What can I do for you, Craig?
First off, I want to thank you for the great job you do for our clients. We've got a really good sized database of past clients, family, and friends, and I would like to promote your company, Katie. Is that okay?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I know the typical like springtime, because it's about to get hot here in Washington. And so we want to make sure our clients either have an AC unit or tune up their AC unit. So typically what a new AC unit's like $4,000.
Mm-hmm.
Could you give me a coupon for any of my clients that buy a new AC unit from you? What kind of coupon could you give me?
I could give $100 off if you're going to send this to all of your database.
Awesome. And how much could you give me off for a servicing, which is normally $200?
$50 off.
Okay, great. So I'm going to make a little flyer and I'm going to email that to my database. I'm going to promote your company.
Wow, thank you. That's amazing.
So Terrence, could we do this with our handyman, our gutter cleaner, our HVAC? We got a guy that owns doggy daycares and he offered free doggy daycare to our clients. Like, it's easy. So then we just simply put it in our newsletter, in our touch, and be like, cool, $100 off a new AC unit or $50 off servicing. We email it to them. And then the script for the follow-up calls, ring.
Hello.
Andrea, it's Craig Reger with ABC Realty. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hey, I just wanted to check in. How are the twins?
Hey, they're good. Thanks.
Right on. Was a past client of our company. We just negotiated a great discount with ABC air conditioning, and it's going into summer. It's going to get hot. It's a really good time to get your AC unit tuned up, and they're going to get $50 off their tune-up. Would that be helpful?
Oh, yeah, that's so cool.
You really should get that done once a year. I'll email that to you. I just want to touch base while I've got you. Do you have any desire to buy or sell real estate this year?
No, not right now, no.
All right, well, give my best to Gus. I hope you're well. Click. Is that an easy phone call to make?
Yes.
And the reason I do this is I don't think I'm that different than all of you. There's a reason, I'm going to pick on Levita. There's a reason Levita only touched her past client 3 times in 12 months. We don't know what to say. We don't know what to say. So this script, it's in your workbook. It gives you a great excuse to touch base with people and be like, hey, I've got gutter cleaning, I've got window cleaning, I've got roof cleaning, I've got yard maintenance, right? We're in spring and summer. Who doesn't need their yard maintained? We just discounted a discount. We just negotiated a discount for yard maintenance. Mm-hmm. It gives a really great reason. And our clients call us, Terrence, they're like, hey, I want to thank you. You've sent me some really great people we've been using. Like, our clients love it.
Cool. And I think the cooler call is to the business owner. Like, what business owner wouldn't be super thankful and appreciative if you're saying, hey, I want to support you. You've been great. Do you mind if I support your business on an even higher level and send you out to my entire database, 200, 500, 1,000 people? They're now supporters of you for life. Like, they're going to send all their business to you. So I think that's actually even the more powerful call. That's the main domino. They're going to support you on a really great level now.
The other thing we're really big fans of is client appreciation events. So why do we not do client appreciation events?
Because the admin has to put them together.
Because we're too busy representing buyers and sellers. We all could agree if we had a group of clients we hung out with, we'd get business out of it, plus we'd have fun. Like, Wouldn't we? If you don't agree with that, then get out of real estate. Like, at the end of the day, if we're in a room with a group of our past clients, that's actually a fun hour or two. It just is. So I like to book client events around things I like. I love red wine. You guys have great wineries throughout Washington. We have great wineries in the Portland area. So I'm gonna have events that include red wine. Maybe I can get a winemaker to come and pour and get some cheese and salami. Cool. That's 30 people in a room for a couple hours. Like, I will definitely get 1 or 2 or more pieces of business out of that. Plus I'll have fun. I like kids, so I love doing anything I can do with kids, like ice cream trucks. We just did a Kona Ice snow cone event at our office. And the nice thing with vaccinations and the pandemic is we are getting back into a time, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get in front of our family, friends, and clients. So the only reason is Katie and Andrea shared that we're not doing it is because we don't have time to be the admin of our company. So like everything else, time block these on your calendar and do them yourself. Or if you've got an admin, pay he or she to do these for you, to pull them off for you. We have client events all the time. And literally at this stage, and I'm not bragging, it takes a while to build up to this. I just show up and somebody hands me a t-shirt that says the Reger Group on it. And I get to go in and mingle with 20, 30, 50 clients. There was a point in time where I had to make the phone calls, plan it out, hire the shaved ice and truck. That's not bad either. Why can I afford now to just show up? Because the first events I did myself were so successful, I sold more homes. When I sold more homes, what did I do with that money? I reinvested it into people in my organization that could throw more events for me. So these are just ideas of events, pictures in the park. What is that, Andrea?
Oh, this is the super fun one. So
Awesome.
we rent out a park, hire a photographer.
Wait, do real estate agents know photographers? Okay, so we find a park and we call our photographer. Then what happens?
Yeah, and then we invite our clients and we basically just give everybody a segment. Like everybody gets like a 15-minute slot where they come, they get their pictures taken at work. It actually has worked well through COVID too, because it's social distance.
It's outside.
Yeah. But anyway, and they come, they get a picture, and well, the photographer takes several pictures. We gift one of the pictures to them. So that's something we pay for and give them, but then they have the opportunity to buy more from the photographer as well.
I asked earlier who's got kids, a bunch of hands went up. Who doesn't like having a professional photo of their kids? Who doesn't like having a professional photo of their family? Like when do we take the time to get that? You keep that forever. So we create that for our clients. We do pictures in the park. We give them a professional photo of their family. We have people show up with dogs.
Yeah.
Like
one of my friends showed up with his dog.
Yeah, he didn't have any kids. He brought his dog. It's like, sweet, game on. Now we got a picture of you and your dog. Ice cream trucks, those are easy. There's lots of ice cream trucks. Shaved ice trucks you can rent. VIP wine happy hours, Easter egg hunts, pie giveaways at Thanksgiving. Go to Costco, buy 100 pies, and then have your clients come to your office and pick up their pies. You can rent out movie theaters. You can book the entire theater. We do investor exchanges where we'll find people in Seattle, or in your case, Tacoma, who own multiple homes, and we'll do an event and teach them how they can exchange those properties for more income producing properties. And the nice thing is we don't do the speaking of that. We just call our title company, and our title company will come in with their speaker who's an expert on 1031s. First-time homebuyer seminars. I wouldn't recommend those in this market. Why not?
Well, this is just a hard market to win, and first-time homebuyers, like, let's call it like it is. They're normally like low down payments, kind of a little skittish. Like they're probably not who I want to spend my time attracting and helping in this market with where we're at. Like I'm gonna have better success with investors or other players in this game who can step up and pay either cash or really high down payments, are comfortable removing inspections, that kind of thing.
And I love first-time buyers, but to your point, if I got to go and attract somebody to work with right now in today's market, first-time buyers getting FHA loans are challenging. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So I'd rather attract an investor who maybe has cash. But I really love the first-time buyer events. I'll just wait till the market changes a little bit and I'll start throwing those. And you get multiple touches. You get to invite them, you get to follow up, you get to see them at the appointment, you get to thank them for coming or send a, hey, sorry, we missed you, Erica. You said you'd be there, you didn't, no problem. We'll look forward to seeing you at the next event. So you get multiple touches with the clients. And the more touches, Levita, the more touches we have with our clients, the more houses we sell.
Yeah, the beauty of client events is the events are fun. They're awesome. They're great, but don't get down on yourself either if, not as many people show up as RSVP'd or not as many people RSVP'd as you had hoped. You're still getting the touches and they're still seeing what you're doing. They still feel appreciated being invited to the event. So it's still doing what you want it to do, regardless if you have, 500 people show up or 30 people show up.
Social media is a great way to get business. It's just be intentional. Are you treating it like social media? Or are you treating it like a business part? So be intentional, friend your clients. Make sure you're posting business things, right? So intentional as a business thing would be, well, I just helped a buyer win and beat out 6 offers.
Yep.
A business thing would be, I just helped a seller get 82,000 over asking. A business thing would be like that email I showed you earlier. The average home in Portland's kind of 81,000 last 12 months. And all the 4 to 1 to 6 to 1 means is that for every 4 personal you do 1 business, or if that's kind of
too much,
for every 6 personal you do, like, here's my pretty twin 6 times, and then the 7th time it's like, oh, here's me selling a house.
Yeah, it's kind of up to you, but the idea here is you can't, if you do all business. Okay, hold on, let me back up. We're talking about a personal social media page. This isn't a business page, right? This isn't, hi, I'm Erica the realtor page. It's I'm Erica, I'm super cool page. So you're posting this on your personal page. So it's kind of like everybody who you're already friends with, people who you went to high school with, people you went to college with, people at your last jobs, like you're already friends with them on social media. So you're utilizing that database in order to show that you're also a great real estate agent, right? If you do it on your business page, then only people who have liked your business page are going to see it, which is you're actually losing a lot of people. So that's step 1. Step 2 is, yeah, you got to keep the personal stuff flowing there, because that's why people are friends with you and connected with you on social media, is they want to see pictures of your pretty twins or your dog or the hike you took last weekend or whatever. And then you put the business post in as well, so it all flows together. Otherwise, you're just going to get people blocking and unfriending you.
Yeah, so what could you post? Funny things. Maybe you showed a house that had something weird in it. That happens. When you go the extra mile, any proof of success, any investment opportunities, congratulations. This is a post that our team does when we get a newer agent. Like, hey, I'm practicing doing comps. Or maybe you're a seasoned agent. Hey, I'm mentoring a new agent who wants to know your home's value. And you'll see that pop up.
I love that. So that's really cool. And I know a lot of you on this call have been in the business for a little bit. So saying, oh, I'm practicing doing comp sounds kind of weird, but you could definitely be mentoring somebody else. You could definitely be practicing new software or a different way of doing it. People are super curious, especially in this market. Like, oh, I wonder what my home is worth right now. Like, I've heard values are insane. So posting something like that on social media, you're going to get a lot of response from it. So I mean, it's a great recommendation. It's a great thing to do. It's a great way to get more people seeing, like, hey, what you do for a living is something I'm interested in, and I want to interact with you.
I saw a great post yesterday from an agent we coach out of Texas. I thought it was really smart. I literally saw this yesterday. So you're the first to hear about it. But I'm going to bring it to my team and other coaching clients. And her post was, what did you pay for your home? And what is it worth now? And if you don't know what it's worth now, text me and I can tell you.
That's cool.
So a real estate agent posted, what did you pay for your home? What is it worth now? And if you don't know what it's worth now, text me and I can tell you. What a great dialogue she's going to get going. And there's like 70 comments on it with her sphere, family, friends, and clients that are talking about real estate values. And my guess, when I read it, it's like, that's smart, because there'll be people in there that, like, there was one I read and it's like the lady paid like $150 for it 18 years ago and it's worth like $700 now.
Oh, I love
Tell me
that.
that doesn't start the thought process and maybe I should cash in on that 580 value. So I thought that was really good. Okay. So practicing scripts. If you're not keeping score, you're just practicing. Practice scripts, right? Your workbook has got a line. My tracking system will be blank. My practicing scripts will be blank. Track your progress, track your calls, practice your scripts, grab an accountability partner, hire a coach. We all have scripts that we use all day, every day. The question I ask my coaching clients, Terrence, is, are they effective scripts? It really makes me laugh when people are like, well, I'm not a script person. I guarantee if I followed them to their appointments, they kind of share the same things on each appointment. more or less. I mean, everybody's different and the scenario is different, but we have a similar cadence of how we communicate what we say. And my challenge to everyone in the real estate community is, well, are you saying the most effective thing you can say? Are you saying the thing that most attracts them to taking your advice or choosing you as an agent or scheduling a listing appointment with you? So practice them. And as far as a tracking system, keep score. Keep score. And what that looks like is, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, at the beginning of this call, you guys all put in like, how many houses have I closed this year? What's my goal? How many do I want to close? How much more likely are you going to be to hit? I don't know. One of you said 25. Anyway, so how much more likely are you going to be to hit 25? If I were to look over on your wall and you have 25 boxes and 7 of them are filled out because that's how many houses you've closed so far this year. Like, how much more likely are you going to see all those empty boxes and go, oh shoot, I got to go sell some more houses. I got to go fill these boxes, versus writing it down or just saying it in your head one time, like, oh, I think I want to sell 25 homes this year. Okay, I'm going to go over here and do this. Like, it's not going to happen. You have to have the tracking system in order to make it happen.
Well, think of a sporting event. Imagine if you watch one of the NBA playoff games. I watched this weekend, most of them. And at the end of it, you didn't know who won.
Why would you watch?
You wouldn't. Like, what makes it so exciting is there is 48 minutes, I believe, in an NBA game. And there's quarters. And you get to track, how is my team doing compared to the other team? And what you'll see as it gets down those final minutes in a close game, which is always the best part of a close game, and the defense is hustling and the offense is going at it, and everyone is just going at 1,000% because the game's about to end. We know that keeping score makes us more competitive. We know it. Like, you guys can see Andrew and I, we're here. Imagine if behind us, there was a group of kids playing basketball. Let's call them teenagers, Terrence. And you can't hear them, but you're watching them play. Would you be able to tell from watching them play if they're keeping score or not?
Yeah.
I think so. If they're keeping score, they're hustling, they're rebounding, they're attacking. If they're keeping score, you could literally watch that without sound and be able to guess they're keeping score. Is that fair?
Yes.
On the flip side, if they're not keeping score, what are they doing? Well, they're not working defense. They're not pushing hard on offense. They're taking silly shots. So if we know that keeping score makes us more competitive, my request to each of you is keep score, right? Make a scoreboard. I'm going to take, you wrote the number down about 2 hours ago. I'm going to take 20 listings next 90 days. So get a scoreboard up in your office. It could just be 20 boxes, as Andrea said, and mark each box. Keep score. Keeping score makes you more competitive. When you're more competitive, you're more focused. When you're more focused, you get more results.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, we have a couple more slides and we'll go to Q&A.
Well, and I think scripts, while you're going to the next one, scripts is just key because we'll probably all have scripts. You all do have scripts. Like Craig said, you're going to go to a listing appointment. You're going to say the same thing you said at the last listing appointment. Like, you just have kind of a script that you say. Practicing scripts is identifying what you want to say. We talked about our communication value proposition. That's a script. Identify what you want to say and practice it until it becomes natural.
All right, for some owners, why call them? They want to sell a house. How do you find them? They advertise all over. Nobody should have a hard time finding a for-sale owner. They're on Craigslist or on Zillow. What percentage of for-sale owners list in the first week? 25%. 1 out of every 4 FSBOs will list in the first week. It is so easy to become a FSBO. Go on Zillow, click, 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 click. You're now a FSBO. What percentage of FSBOs will list between day 7 and day 60? Another 25%. What percent of FSBOs will never list? About 50%, either because they sell the house themselves, that happens, or they weren't motivated. But if you think through that, 2 out of 4 FSBOs will be on the market with a realtor between day 1 and day 60. That's pretty good return.
Bro. So
in your workbook on page 22, we've got a great for-sale owner script. Take a look at it. And here it is. But you guys can read it. It's all right there. For-sale owner open house is another good one. And that was something I did a lot because I was afraid of the phones, Terrence. So I would just go and visit for-sale owners on the weekend. So rather than doing open houses and waiting for people to come through the opens, I would go to for-sale owners open houses. And if I could hit 5 or 6.
Well, because that's the one thing they can do, right? Like, all they have to do is unlock the door and stick out a sign. now I'm an open house, right? So that's the one way they can actually advertise their house for sale.
Yeah, and I would show up and I'd build relationships, I'd give value, and I list a bunch of houses from it. So it's just another great technique. This one we're going to camp on for a second. What's a rent boat, Andrea?
Well, it's like a FSBO is a for sale by owner, a rent boat is a rent by owner. Rent by owner.
Okay, so for sale by owner is selling their house without the use of an agent.
Correct.
A rent bow is a landlord that's renting their house without the use of a professional.
Property management
Yeah.
company. Yeah.
So Katie, you've got multiple rentals.
Yep.
Do you hire a professional or do you and Derek rent them yourselves?
I just do it myself.
What about you, Andrea?
Same.
Oh, so you just rent them yourself. What do you do? Put them on Zillow, Craigslist, put a sign in front?
That's exactly what I do.
Wow.
Do people ever get tired of being a landlord?
Yes.
Yeah. Do people trash your rentals? Say yes.
Yes.
Do you have scheduled appointments to meet a prospective renter and your twins are in your backseat screaming and then the renter no shows you?
Yes.
Do your renters not pay you on time?
Yes.
Here's the global question, Jesse and Devin. Have rentals gone up in value like all other houses in the last 12 months? Say yes.
Uh-huh.
If you've owned a rental property for a couple years, it has gone up substantially in the last 12 months during a pandemic. Who would have thought? So the script's really easy. Katie, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Katie, this is Craig Reger. I'm with ABC Realty. I saw you're renting a property on Main Street. Have you rented it?
I have not.
The reason I'm calling is that values are really aggressive right now. There's no inventory, and we're seeing properties in your neighborhood selling substantially above asking, like way above asking, like 10, 20, 30,000 above. If I could get you that type of activity on your property, would you sell it instead of rent it?
No, I want to keep it as a rental.
Fair enough. If I find some more good investment properties you want to add to your portfolio?
Yeah, I'm always looking. That'd be great.
Perfect. So I'll get her contact info. Where do I put all of that contact info, Levita? I put it in my data bank. And how often do I touch that data bank? 24 times a year. So I just got a proven investor added to my data bank. Tell me that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
But let's do the script again. Ring, ring, Katie.
Hello.
Hey, Katie, it's Craig Reger. I'm with ABC Realty. I saw you're renting that property on Main Street. Have you rented it?
Nope, still available.
Well, reason I'm calling is there's no inventory. There's an abundance of buyers, and we're seeing homes in your neighborhood selling 10, 20, 30,000 plus above asking. If I could get you that kind of offer, would you sell it instead of rent it?
I'm curious to see what it's worth. I'd be open to that.
Okay, well, why don't we meet? I'll give you the value. If you like where I'm coming from, we can talk longer. If not, I'll leave. It'll take about 20 minutes. What works better for you today, 5 tonight or 4 tomorrow?
4 o'clock tomorrow.
Terrence, if I called all the rent bows in your market, do you think I could go and get 4 or 5 listings the next 30 days? And ladies and gentlemen, rent bows are easy to find. Literally just go on Zillow and Craigslist and you'll find them. And you can tell it's a rent bow because the quality of the marketing is not the same as a property manager. You can literally tell it's a rent bow. People are just like, how do I find rent bows? It is a landlord advertising their property for rent. They're not hard to find.
Right.
I literally used that script on my own husband for my own rental.
Did you want to sell?
I was like, hey, honey, did you know that you can list this house for a lot more than what it's worth right now and it will sell and we don't have to be renter or landlords anymore? And he sold it.
Hey, it works.
What database are you using? Make sure you're using a database. It doesn't matter which one you use. Every highly successful, consistent real estate agent has a database.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, every business does.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Nordstrom. They have a database. I get emails from Nordstrom all the time.
Every single day.
Amazon has a database. Like the whole world is database driven. And for some reason, our industry isn't using our database. Do you need a time block for lead follow-up? Right? We talked about lead gen.
Well, yeah, I mean, sorry, you were probably going here, but we talked about a dozen different lead generation strategies. And not all those people say yes. Not all of them say, yeah, come over right now. I'm ready. Let's go. A lot of them say in 6 months, in a year, call me next year. I'm busy. My son broke his leg. Call me back. Like whatever. Those are the people that go in your database and you set a reminder and you follow up with them because the reality is that 70% of your business is actually going to come from lead follow-up. So the people you go back and remind again and again and again that you're in business. So having a place to put them and then systematically staying in touch with them is key to having a big business over time. Otherwise, every day you do have to get up and keep doing lead generation super, super hardcore day after day after day because you're not utilizing a database to then stay in touch with those people you already found.
Yeah, lead generation sucks. Like, hey, Devin, you don't know me. Do you want to buy a home? That's lead gen. Lead follow-up's really fun. Like, hey, Devin, we talked 6 months ago. You were super stressed about the pandemic. You didn't want to leave your house. I'm checking in, man. How you doing now? Like, lead follow-up is a totally different deal than lead generation.
It's fun.
It's funner. One of the most common questions we get asked is, how often do you call a lead back? Well, you know, I love, where did she go? Erica. Erica is a guy whose house just expired. And it's like, you call that dude back every single day until he meets with you, which is essentially what you did with a 1-day break in between. That is smart. If somebody's like, you know,
call that real estate IQ.
Yeah, that's high real estate IQ. Like, he is going to be relisting with somebody. I'm going to be relentless. That is aggressive lead follow-up. On the flip side, if I call Katie and Katie's like, you know, there's no way I'm going to sell till next summer, not this summer, next summer. I'm not going to call Katie every day, but I'll check in with her once a month. I'll check in with her every other month, right? And odds are, if I do that between now and next summer, there's a high probability it'll be my sign in her yard. So it's a hard one to answer beyond real estate IQ. Judge how far out you think they are and have an appropriate game plan to follow up with them.
So Erica, yours was, right, you're calling trying to list their house. Like, that was probably, I don't want to say an easy conversation, but you knew what you were calling trying to get them to do, where you were going with that. Like, what are we saying for these people who are, oh, I want to buy or sell next summer? Like, okay, so I'm going to call them every month and say hello?
That's really easy. So you're 11 months out.
Yeah.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hi, Andrea. It's Craig Reger with ABC Realty. How are you?
Okay, I'm good.
Good. My notes say that you're looking to sell next June. I've got 2 quick questions for you.
Okay.
Number 1, is your motivation changed? Do you have any desire to sell sooner?
No.
Okay. Number 2, do you have any questions about what's happening on the market today?
No.
Perfect. Have a good day.
Okay.
So I'll call her next month. Ring, ring. Hey, Andrea, my notes say you're about 10 months out from wanting to sell. 2 quick questions. Has your motivation changed? Have you thought about selling before June?
Nope.
And while I've got you, are you curious what's happening in the market today?
Nope.
Have a good day. If I make that phone call for the next 11 months, is it a high probability a Craig Reger sign is going to be in her yard in June? Say yes. The other thing that could happen is that she may choose to sell in January because values have gone up so much, so I won't miss that. Because we'll see agents like, oh, she's going to sell in June. They start calling in May, only to learn that the people actually sold in January.
Yeah.
All right, we've got about 5 minutes left. Some fuzzy little background noise happening. Okay, we're going to wrap on this. Time block. The most important activities you do, time block. Health, exercise, spiritual, family, lead generation, lead follow-up, script practice.
All the things that are truly important to do each day or week or whatever have to be time blocked, or they just won't happen.
Does your schedule match your goals? That's kind of our mantra here at RCC. Does your schedule match your goals? So, you know, if I really want to be a good dad, like, that's important to me. I should be able to show you that I have quality time I spend with my kids. In my opinion, I could be wrong. It's impossible to be a good dad without spending quality time with my teenagers. Is that fair?
Yeah.
If I intend to be a great husband, I should be able to show you, not that I have to, but I should be able to show you I have quality time with my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
If I intend to be a great real estate agent, I should show you I have a database and I'm touching it. If I intend to be good at lead generation, I should show you that I've got script practice on my schedule. So I guess the test is each of you could pull out your phones, which probably have your calendars on them. And if you looked at the last 30 days, just May, the last 24 days of your calendar are the most important things in your life scheduled. And if they're not, totally cool. Now is a great opportunity to schedule the most important things in your life: your family, your health, your spiritual, your script practice, your lead generation, your database management. I really believe this. You only have to be boring for like 1 or 2 hours a day. That's why if we go back to this slide.
What does be boring mean?
Oh gosh, I just really screwed up.
No.
Where'd I go?
I don't know.
I was doing so good.
Share. There you go.
Well, boring to me means the world begins 11:01. that means I've got to be consistent, Terrence, for about 2 hours a day.
So lead gen.
Yeah,
Lead
whatever it is, like
follow-up.
2-3 hours a day. Maybe I work out in the morning. Maybe I make breakfast to give my wife a break with the kids before school. Maybe I show up and do script practice. Maybe I do some lead gen, some lead follow-up. And so that's being boring for a couple hours a day. Just consistent routine is boring for me.
Yeah.
But from 11:01 on, I can be Crazy Craig because I knocked out my big rocks before 11 a.m.
Right.
The rest of the world can get chaotic. Do you need a coach? You know, Reger Coaching Consulting, you got a flavor of who we are for the last 3 hours. Whether you're brand new to the MLS or you're the most experienced agent in your market, we've got programs that could help you. Katie, do you want to quickly talk about what we do in the coaching spectrum?
Yeah, I want to tie this back to Terrence because thank you. You guys, you have a great leader. He reached out to us. He made this happen. You guys have been an awesome group. And I know that he knows the value of coaching. He's been a supporter in our corner and I really appreciate that. So thank you, Terrence, for setting this up.
Great. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. I hope that we, this motivation, you guys is we want to continue this, right? You guys set a really big goal and hopefully you start June 1st. And we want to be there to help and support you. So if you guys are interested in coaching, I've been sending out my calendar link. I'll retype that in a second, but feel free to call me about questions. We can go through there. And honestly, just because you guys have been a great group, we'll do a free coaching call as well. So pick a time with me and we'll go through that. We'll use that time to just look at your business and see if we have the right coach for you. So during that time, I want to hear about who you are, what you want to accomplish and how you want to do that. And then I'll just see if we have the right coach. All of our coaches are in production. And I think what you've seen today is a lot of fresh material, things that are relevant to the circumstances of what's going on today. And that's really important to us. We wanted to make sure that we had coaches that are in really high production. So they're doing it at a really efficient level and then able to twist and turn with the time. So the information that they give you is relevant to today, right? If open houses are locked down with COVID, they had new strategies to say to their clients, hey, do this. And this is, helping me get 5 new appointments without being in person. So it's really important, you guys. It's mentorship. It's helping you guys get balanced. So during this crazy market, we want to make sure that you maintain your social life, your time with your family, and get balanced while you're growing a massive business. So if you're interested in coaching, again, book with my calendar link. Thanks, Matt, for just posting that. And then we'll talk and just see if it's the right fit.
Awesome. Yeah, our goal today was to give you guys some value. I hope we accomplished that. We promised Terrence, and I believe we followed through. It's like we do have a business, so we're lead genning like all of you, and our promise was we weren't going to push coaching down your throat. But at the end of today's call, like we want to be clear, like this is what we do for a living. We've got clients all over the country, and we are really good at it. We know that by the happiness and results of the people we work with. So if you're interested, reach out. And then why don't we just wrap up? Do you guys have any questions or anything you want to ask us? Anything we covered today? Anything on coaching? Feel free. Now's the final time because I'm going to get lunch. So either we did a really good job, or everybody's really tired and they want to get lunch. Terrence, you want to take us home? Was there anything we didn't cover we should have?
No, actually, you guys did good. You covered a lot, and we all have our work cut out for us because we took a lot of notes, and it's time for us to get out and implement. There's one exercise that you did at the last class that I wonder if we had a few minutes for us to go over, just to kind of show everybody how important their database is. You did an exercise where you had everybody open their phone, and there's some kind of a contact count. That shows how many contacts you have in your phone. And then based off of that amount of contacts you have in your phone, you should get X amount of business just from the people on your phone alone. Because most agents think that they have to go out and, like you said earlier, and try to find new business in other places when this phone right here has a lot of money built inside of it already.
It's really good. Katie, you want to walk us through that really quick?
Yeah, you guys, it's just kind of interesting because we talk with with clients all over the country, and we'll start with the number one question. Well, how many people do you have in your database? And it's usually just like a couple hundred people. And I'll say, can I challenge that? Why don't you open up your cell phone? So you guys, whatever phone you have, go open up your cell phone. I'm hoping it's an Apple, just because it's 2021. So open up your phone and go to your contacts. And I think droids do this too. You guys, that little blue, scroll down to the very, very, very bottom. There's a little blue alphabet on the right-hand side, so you can do a shortcut and just hit the X or the Z and go all the way down. But at the very bottom, you'll see this. I don't know if it's showing up, but it actually shows in gray the total contact number. So mine's like 1,500. So does anyone have a bigger number than 1,500? Maddie does. Do we all find where that spot is? Jesse does. Jesse, can I use your number for a quick minute? Can you unmute?
Yeah, for sure.
What was your number?
253.
Woo! All right, so we've got, let's just kind of clean that up a little bit, right? Some of those numbers are like maybe duplicates or ex-girlfriends or friends or whatever we want, right? Like, so we just need to clean that up a little bit. So if we kind of went through, what do you think that number would actually be? Like 2,000? 1,500?
Yeah, for me, it would probably be the same as you, like 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
1,500. So Jesse, let's go through this really quick. We know now from the stats earlier that there's Mets and there's not Mets, right? So there's people who know you, who want to work with you. And we know that conversion rate for Mets was a 6-to-1, right? So for every 6 people in your cell phone, we know that we're going to get a deal. So of that 1,500, you just take your number in your guys' cell phone, because we know these people, right? So grab whatever number you have and divide that by 6.
I got 250 for Jesse.
250 transactions are possible with 1,500 people if we work our database at a really high level, right? So what's your average commission check, Jesse?
8-9 grand.
So times $9,000, that's $2.2 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot.
Jesse's smiling.
Ski, you got to get to work on that database, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, I already wrote it down too.
Talk about a missed opportunity, right? This is why it's crazy that we decide to go out and pay for leads, or we do open houses for strangers, or we work so hard to get these yahoos who we don't even know if we're going to like them, right? We have the business right here in our cell phone and we forget to use it. Like, people already know you into some capacity, right? So this is where the number one thing is, like, walk away from this and just, again, by the way, if you had $2.2 million, Jesse, could you afford an admin for $20,000 a year?
Most definitely.
Right? Pay
Yeah.
the admin. You may not have it up front, but that's where we're going to work with you, by the way. Our coaches work individually. It's a custom program. So Jesse, let's say you don't have the income from that, right? Like, maybe you don't have 20,000 saved right now. So the coach is going to work backwards and say, okay, well, we need to get you a couple extra sales today so that we can afford that person to work that database every single day for you and make you $2.2 million. Right. And again, we're not going to push teams if you don't want a team. We're going to work custom and make sure it's the right fit for you. But Terrence, thank you for having to show that. It's crazy why we don't just start here, right? Like, why are we not just going with the people in our cell phone?
Yeah, we talk about Rembos, Fizbos, expireds, like Katie, like they're all probably in our phone right now. We just got to communicate with them.
They can't hear me.
Was there someone about to ask a question?
Yeah, sorry, this is Danny. Sorry. I wanted to know if you could walk through the math again on that. And secondly, I guess I'm not progressive. I don't have a iPhone. I have an Android, so I don't know where to locate.
Yeah, so real quick, the number is so just even finding it at the very bottom when you get into your phone. Terrence is showing us at the very, very bottom. Whenever you can get that number, it's just the total number of contacts in your cell phone. So most cell phones, Droids do it too. At the very bottom, when you scroll through the contacts, it'll have that number. And the math was just because we know from NAR that if we are in consistent communication with our database with people who have met us, it's a 6-to-1 ratio.
Consistent is 24 or more touches a year.
Yep. So every 2 weeks or more, if we're reaching out to our people within 1 year, every 6 people in that cell phone, you should get 1 lead or closed deal. So really, I'm just dividing your total number of contacts in your phone by 6.
Yeah. So Dan, if you had 1,000 people in your database, we divide that by 6. That could result in 166 closings. If you've got 400 people on your phone, divide that by 6, and that could be 66 closings. Does that make sense? If we communicated with them 24 times a year.
And
Okay.
just on that math, it's not that 1 out of every 6 people in your phone is going to do a transaction with you. It's 1 out of every 6 is either going to do a transaction with you or refer you to somebody else.
Or to really
Gotcha.
complicate it, one person might refer you to 3 people and the other 18 refer you to 0. But the odds turn out to, out of every 6 people in your database that know you, that you communicate with 24 times a year, you'll get 1 piece of business on average. And I like the way Jesse lit up when we heard 2.2 million.
Like that.
And I was thinking, okay, let's say Katie's just full of crap. And let's say it's not 2.2 million. Okay, let's cut it in half. It's 1.1 million. I think Jesse's still going to smile at 1.1 million, right? Like that's what makes this so cool. Like even if we fail by 50%, it's still $1 million sitting in his cell phone. Pretty awesome. All right, guys, we've got to run. Terrence and his wonderful wife, Crystal, thank you for hosting this. Thank you for taking time out of your vacation to be part of it. You guys were a great group. Like seriously, lots of communication, really good questions, really good feedback. We appreciate you. If we can be of help to you, you know where to find us with Katie and Matt's calendars, and we hope you have a powerful week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Take care.